that, we'll get started. Hi, I'm Steve Thompson. I'm president of Emery Thompson Machine. And this is Jeff Markow, who runs Mystic Ice Cream and Ice Cream Boot Camp. And Rod, why don't you come on over into the screen? You all know Jeff, so I don't have to give you too much of an introduction. Rod Oringer is from iRice Company. And a little background on Rod. 20 years ago, I've known Rod for a very long time, before there was dirt. And Rod and I always worked together. He had a business that was world famous for making flavors. And then he sold it and retired. And shortly after that, I met him in St. Pat's Cathedral at Christmas, and I said, "What do you do here? Are you here to save your soul?" And he said, "No, I got to use the bathroom." And I said, "Well, while you're in here, why don't you reconsider what you're doing? This retirement thing doesn't fit you. Why don't you go back to work? It's getting annoying that you're not working. You're too young." So he did. Uh-oh. So he went back to work, and he went to a fantastic company called iRice Company out of Philadelphia. iRice has always been a go-to business for Italian ice flavors, and they do a fantastic job, and that's what we're going to be doing some of today. I like to show you different ways to make ice, and this is one of the most popular ways. But Rod, with all his knowledge of ice cream flavors, has over the last 20 years developed an incredible product line for iRice. He has moved them in a whole different direction to add on to their already terrific Italian ice flavors. He's taken them in the direction of ice cream flavors. Some of the things are just, they're all fantastic. Some of the ones I use is people always want to make frozen custard, and we'll talk about a custard machine later. But custard is a hard mix to find. Well, you can open up Rod's. I keep pointing to a shelf. You can't. The camera can't see. I'm sorry. There's a can there. They're called a number 10, aren't they?
Yes.
A number 10 tin is 3 quarts, and you add this Bavarian base, which the first ingredient is egg yolks. You add this to a dairy blend, and now you've got a beautiful custard mix that you can run in a machine. So something that was unattainable for years is now, readily available. The mango Italian ice is world famous. I like to use fresh fruit in a lot of my products, but mango is just impossible to work with. I can bring it up in bulk from Miami, but it's so fibrous and so hard to work within the machine that I fall back and use the iRice mango. It's just delicious, and we're going to make that first today, so you're going to get to try it. So Rod's here to help us out and answer any questions about Italian ice and ice cream and flavors. On questions, I forgot to mention that. A thought is going to come up. We want you to raise your hand, and as fast as I can.
Don't interrupt Steve.
Oh, no, well, you can't interrupt me. I never stop talking. But raise your hand, and I'll acknowledge you, or I'll nod, and as fast as we can, we'll get to your question. What I don't want you to do is don't have a question and then hold on to it and say, well, I'll ask it at the break. Because when you're thinking of the question, it's right in the middle of what we're talking about, and everybody else wants to hear it. There's 29 people in this room. There's thousands of people all over the world who are going to see these videos as they do, and other people want to hear the same thing that you're asking. Don't feel embarrassed about a question. There are no dumb questions whatsoever. It's all knowledge, and any knowledge that you can gain is fantastic. So, raise your hand, I'll acknowledge you, or Jeff will, and we'll get to your question just as quickly as we can. So with that, we'll get started. We'll get the ingredients for the mango. We're going to start off with the CB-350, which makes a finished product of 6 quarts in about 14 minutes. So, later on, I'll show you how to put it all together. We've got this all put together and sanitized. When you're up and walking around. Mike, while we get some ingredients together, can you swing the camera over to show the freezing cylinder and the dasher blades? And I'll explain a little bit about that while we're getting things set up. So you guys work that out. I put 4 to 5 quarts in the machine. 4 quarts is good, total volume.
Okay.
So you'll have to work back from there. What you're looking at over here, I'll move over here while they work on that. First off, this is our freezing cylinders. These are 6 times thicker
Look like
than
you know
any
what
other
to do.
machine in the world.
I'm just doing a calculation
which
here.
allows you to be able to put nuts, candies, cookies, everything into the machine. No other machine can you do that. In fact, they'll void your warranty if you do, and they make it impossible to do. They put a little tiny opening about that small so that you can't put whole Oreo cookies in there or anything else because they know it'll damage the cylinder. This thing, it's a 100-year cylinder. It's not going to wear out. It's one-piece stainless steel, incredibly thick. It's what we have always manufactured, and it's the heart and soul of the machine. The other heart and soul of the machine are the scraper blades, or the knives, whatever you want to call them. The way you make ice cream, when you had, let me get a hand crank machine and show you. This is what my grandfather was using back in 1903 to make ice cream in a department store in Manhattan, the world's largest department store. And for his source of cold, he had ice and rock salt. You know, rock salt that you throw down to melt ice. What the rock salt does is ice melts and freezes at 32 degrees. The rock salt takes the temperature down to about 5 degrees. So you have a much colder cylinder. And then we had the cylinder inside it. It would be surrounded by rock salt and ice, and you would have, back then, wood blades that scraped the ice cream off the walls. So you turn this crank, and those wood blades are scraping the ice cream off the walls. So we've come a whole lot of ways over the last 15 years, but it's still the same homemade process, whereby we are turning a motor instead of a crank. We have a cylinder, and we're scraping the ice off the walls. And the newest blade system, which new around here is relative. New is 15 years or less. So we've been using these since 2010. These type of blades, they're spring-loaded. The old ones, the very oldest, were metal. And the way they worked is when you turned on the machine, they were thrown against the walls by centrifugal force, and they went around and they scraped the barrel. Well, metal's got a lot of problems to it. Mainly, it's not as sanitary as Delrin, so we faded out of that very quickly back in 1995. Went over to this, which was the same concept but made out of plastic. The problem was it was so light it wouldn't scrape as well. We added this in 1999, which was to add weight to the machine, but we riveted them in place so that it made it a little hard to clean. You know, even the best companies are not perfect, but we strive to. This has been our hallmark for many, many years. That's a very heavy stainless steel blade with a Delrin plastic insert. That's a plastic that is approved by the FDA, and these are still thrown against the walls and scrape around the barrel. Then comes gelato. Gelato changes everything, but because gelato is made at less than half the speed of homemade ice cream. So there wasn't enough centrifugal force to throw these out. So we went to what you'll see over here at the break, our spring-loaded blades. It's a very simple blade, but the advantage here is the metal and the plastic had to be resharpened once a year. These go 5 years without doing anything to them. In fact, we just had a set come in that's 6 years old, and they're making Italian ice every day. We sent them back to them. We didn't even do anything to them because they just weren't even worn out yet.
Did you charge them?
No. Okay. No, we didn't charge them. But since they're spring-loaded, the springs are literally pushing this out against the walls. They're going to scrape very strongly against the barrel. And the metal blades, the plastic blades, as they wore down, your freezing time got longer. So your freezing time is great in May. By August, it's getting 2 or 3 minutes longer. We don't like inconsistency in the food business.
I can attest to that. When I had the old blade assembly, even a basic vanilla or chocolate was at 14 minutes production time. Now with the new blades, 6 or 7.
Yeah, it makes quite a difference.
It's sure half. I called you and told you half. Yeah.
And other companies are using plastic blades, but they cost more than these, and they only last 6 months. These go, on average, 6 years. And the beauty of it is, as the blade wears, because everything in a machine wears, as it wears, the springs just push further out. So if a blade is brand new out of the factory today, our factory, or 4 years and 11 months, those springs are still pushing it. There's less blade, but it's still pushing it against the wall. So you have a consistent product over the 5, 6, 7 year life of the blades, which is really fantastic. I never do anything to cheapen my machines. I can always charge a bit more if it costs me more to make it. But the goal is to make the perfect machine that has an average lifespan of 40 years. So we'll swing the camera back over here. And
We're ready to go, boss.
you're ready to go. So tell us, Rod, what we have here.
Okay, so we're going to make a mango ice using 2 iRice products as our mango base. We have a whole line of these water ice bases. These bases are formulated with fruit or fruit juice, dairy solids, cocoa solids, but they have everything you need in them to provide the flavor systems for your finished product. iRice also makes a line of stabilization systems. We make actually 4 different kinds, but this is the number 1 seller for iRice stabilization system, just called sorbet base. These products were designed together. They work together, and the finished product, excuse me, will give you a soft, creamy product in a standard ice cream cabinet at 6 degrees Fahrenheit, which is the standard temperature you want to dip ice cream at. If you're not adding a stabilizer, in my opinion, Steve and I do have a little differing opinion on this. If you don't add stabilizer, you can't get an extended shelf life on ices. And the reason for that is there's nothing to hold the product together. Ultimately, after 24 hours or 48 hours max, you'll get separation in your ices. You get water weeping out, the product will break down considerably. So that's why we recommend using a stabilization system such as this. So these products, the sorbet base and any of iRice's water ice base systems were designed to work together. The ratios are very simple. They're basically a gallon of a sorbet base, a gallon of a mango base, and 2.5 gallons of water. You don't have to write this down because I'm going to give you my email address before I leave, and I'm going to send you all this information. I'm going to send you a guide to making frozen desserts, which includes recipes for making Italian ices, sorbets, as well as a variety of different ice creams.
If you don't mind being inundated by people all over the world, would you mind giving out that email address? Because there's going to be thousands of people who are going to see this. This and I Love Lucy are out there in the universe forever.
I love Lucy.
Do you want to give that email address where they can send for that?
So the email address is Oringer, that's RORINGER, at iRiceco, IRICECO.com.
Okay,
And
got that?
That is the best way to get in touch with me.
If you forget it, you can call here to Emery Thompson and we'll repeat it to you.
If I use those 2 products, can I advertise my finished product as non-preservatives, no GMO and all that?
No,
I can't.
there's preservatives in them.
Okay. But if I don't use the stabilizer, there are no preservatives. Is that correct?
There's the preservative in the ice base.
Okay. So I can't say that.
Correct.
Where this is a tremendous help to you is if you're a small mom and pop business, or if you're one push cart and you're making ices Thursday night, Friday night to sell on Saturday on your individual cart, you can do it my method, which you see in other videos. But one thing I promote all the time is we all want to expand our businesses. And I had a guy call up once, I use this in other videos, and he said, business was so great, everything was wonderful, just what you said it was. My push cart has gone wild, I'm going to put out 10 push carts next year. And I said, oh, so I hear you're going out of the Italian ice business and into the push cart repair business. And he goes, what do you mean? I said, well, you'll spend so much time repairing those carts, you won't have time to send anybody out. Plus, you're sending out 15 employees, so your spouse or someone else has got to run QuickBooks for 15 employees. You've got to do all the reporting to the government. You're going to have the guy comes in who says, gee, boss, I know you said there were 90 portions in that tub, but I only got 56 today. And he's leaning sideways because he's got your money in his pocket. The way to expand this business, just briefly, is to, when people are going to come up to you and they're going to say, gee, I wish I could do what you're doing, And the first answer is, well, you can't. These recipes came from my great-great-grandfather from Genoa, Italy. Does he look like my great-great-grandfather from Genoa, Italy? I don't think so. I'm not even sure he's been there. The other is, well, you can't do this because I buy it from one of the big people like Rosati or Via Veneto or Little Jimmy's, and the minimum order is $1,000, and they send you a huge room full of ice, so you have to go out and build a $20,000 freezer, or you have to go rent freezer space. That's not in the wheelhouse of someone with a push cart. So the third answer, which is the right one, is, oh, you like my ice? I'll tell you what. I'll sell you my ice. You call me on Tuesday. Tell me how many lemon, cherry, mango, grape you want. You can pick it up Friday afternoon at 4 o'clock. Bring cash, no credit cards, no checks, no open account, no broken promises, no nothing, just cash. We're going to freeze it to 10 below. And you bring igloo coolers, we're going to load it into your igloo coolers, and you drive it 20 miles home to your chest freezer like you'll see in the room here, and you go out and sell it this weekend. In a year, you'll have 20 people buying from you. Now, if you're going to make 20 people's worth of ice, you're not going to make it Friday afternoon or Thursday night. There aren't enough hours in the day. So if you have a product that is going to be more stabilized, more able to hold up, you can make product 2-3 weeks in advance. You'll know what flavors are going to sell best, and you'll be able to grow your business because you have more product available and you can serve more customers. So for every method that we talk about for doing different products, whether it's ice cream or ices or dairy-free, there is a time and place for everything. This is a great way to be able to make a product and make it in large quantities, and it's simple. Yes?
So you stated that it's about a 48-hour shelf life if you don't use the base. What would it be if you do use the sorbet base or the stabilizer?
7 days minimum.
But that's at scooping temperature.
That's at scooping temperature, right?
But you put it
If it's frozen.
You put it in a 10 below freezer, and it's going to be months and months.
Forever.
Yeah, there is no limit.
Yeah.
Cold is the greatest preservative on earth. The colder you can go, the better it's preserved. So there's 2 ways to do it. So let's get this going.
There's one other question. When he said GMO preservatives, he lumped those two together.
Yeah.
Is your product got GMOs in it, or is it the preservatives that we're talking about is the issue?
None of these products have GMOs, but to state that they're GMO free, we have to have certification on the product, which the cost to do that is exorbitant.
Okay.
So unless somebody specifically requires that we state the product's non-GMO, we just say,
You know, a lot of people throw that term around and don't know what it means. It's genetically modified what?
genetically modified organisms.
And doesn't that usually apply to to foodstuffs and
Mostly
dairy?
related to corn.
Yeah, so
Corn,
it's not
wheat,
something you're going
barley.
to find in Italian ice anyway. It's sugar and water.
If you use corn syrup as your sugar, that's where you'd find it.
I guess it would depend on the source.
Yes.
Yeah,
You'll find it in your flavor then, won't you?
I don't know why you would.
So these do have corn syrups in them, which is one of the primary reasons why we don't say non-GMO. So we use standard corn syrup, we use non-GMO corn syrups, and we use organic corn syrups.
Question back there.
Do you guys have a dry stabilizer?
We do.
Okay, because I guess what I'm asking is not part of your business, because I use one for my ice cream, and I was wondering,
Are you making your own ice cream mix?
yeah, and I know you're supposed to pasteurize and all of that, but carrageenan, guargum, and your emulsifier, is that pretty much what yours is? Just in your stabilizers? You're not using...
So this one is xanthan gum and guar gum.
So yeah, there you go. They're both gums. They're natural.
Okay, yeah. So, because when they say preservative is a generic term. Salt is a preservative.
Well, a stabilizer is not a preservative.
Right. But you do have a specific preservative.
We have the preservatives that everybody uses are either potassium sorbate or sodium benzoate. Okay?
And of course, again, this is all dependent on the makeup of your business. How much time do you have? How long do you need to be out with the product? Growth has challenges. You know, it's one thing to have a push cart, it's another to have the 20 push carts, as my example. So you adapt your business to that.
Somebody's hungry.
Yeah, let's get that in here. Yeah, go right ahead. Just pour it in.
Of course, I didn't check to see if it was closed.
I did.
I just made an assumption.
See, anybody in the ice cream business knows that the last thing you did when you made a product was you left the gate open to get the product out. So you're pouring it all in, and it's going all over the floor, and you're cursing me, and you're getting ready to call me because the machine leaks. No, it leaks because you left the gate open.
But there's a certain amount of trust here.
Yeah.
Just a certain amount.
What's the measurement of the stuff that you're putting in?
So the standard recipe, as I mentioned before, originally is a gallon of sorbet base, a gallon of ice base, any ice base, and 2.5 gallons of water. So I basically backed that out. So there's basically.
So that's for our 24-quart machine, two big tubs like these. So it's going to be, the recipe is going to be 1/4 of that approximately. See, the machine that recipe is for 2 of these. We're going to make half a tub in this machine, so we're going to divide by 4 for the most part for the recipe.
Do you want to start this up? I don't want to.
Yeah,
I don't want to add too much because it's a.
Okay, so we're going to hit that we want to make product, and we're going to go to Italian ice. So let me click there. There's Italian ice, and start. That gives me my speed. Now, once that's in there, we turn on, it's spinning. You don't have to take a lot of time mixing. It mixes very quickly, and you just hit refrigeration. And I'm going to start a watch or a clock here. Now, I buy a cheap timer, and if I think the batch is going to be about 14 minutes, I set it for 12. That way, I can be over here doing other things. I can be washing tubs, sanitizing items. I can get my flavors ready for the next batch. The bell goes off, and I go, oh, I got to get back to the machine. So it's a good timer. You cannot be doing something other than making product when you're making ice cream. If you want to mess things up and mess up your formula, just try making this product and serving customers at the same time. You'll get some person like me who can't stop talking and wants to tell you their life history, and they're going to be chatting you up, and you're not going to realize that 17 minutes just went by, and the machine says, shame on you, I shut myself down because you're not smart enough to shut me down. So the machine outthinks you. But the point is, this is what you're doing. You say, okay, don't bother me. I'll be back in 3 hours. I'm making ice cream now, and this is all I'm going to do. Yes?
If that does happen and you get distracted for some reason, you said the machine will shut itself down. You just have to pour that and dump it then?
If the machine, if you let it go too long, the machine will has a sensor in it that measures the load. It says it's getting too thick. It won't even come out of the machine. It's too thick. So the proper thing to do is come back here, shut it down, open up the gate, and take that out. It's perfectly good product, but you're going to have to scoop it out, clean it out, and then just start over. So no, you don't have to throw it away. Just don't do it again. You know, the third time we hit you with 50,000 volts. Yes?
So this flavor, the gallon you were making a full batch, that gallon jug already has the sweetener in it. I wasn't sure if it's
That's correct.
already, so it's actually pre-sweet.
Right. This is the simplest formulation you can use to make Italian ices. There are a number of different recipes. There's recipes using powdered stabilizer where you have to add sugar, and using concentrated flavors. So there's probably 10 different types of recipes, but this is the simplest one. This is going to give you a soft, creamy product that you can dip at 6 degrees every single time. It's going to give you an excellent flavor profile. You may not like the exact flavor profile, and you can make your adjustments as you go along, but this is an excellent starting point and the simplest route to go.
How does that work as far as economics?
So,
cost per gallon opposed to a cost for putting, separating just that flavor and sugar and doing the mix.
Oh, I can answer that one. It's almost dead even. Yeah. I still come out to about just under $9 for a 3-gallon tub. And for that 3-gallon tub, I'm going to get 90 portions, and I'm going to make somewhere around $250 off that tub. Subtract my $9, and I've got one hell of a profit.
There is more profit in ices than there is in ice cream, for sure. So, something that Steve hasn't mentioned yet, and I know you would get to it, is with ices, there's no overrun. Do we know what overrun is? Overrun is the amount of air that's whipped into a product. So you can't whip air into water. So what you put in is what you get out. So we basically put in 4 quarts, we're going to get 4 quarts out. If you put in 4 quarts of ice cream mix and some flavor, and you have 100% overrun, you're going to get 8 quarts out, double the amount. I don't think your machines are not set for 100% overrun, are they, Steve?
I'm sorry?
What are your machines set for overrun? For
Well,
ice cream?
with the infinite overrun control, you can do anywhere from 100% overrun down to 35%. You just pick the product that you want to make. You say, I want to make custard. You push custard, and the machine spins slower.
That was probably a silly question for me to ask, but knowing that Steve and I go back to before dirt, they didn't have this kind of stuff on equipment back before dirt came around.
Yeah, no, this is something I invented 22 years ago, and it's become the hallmark because with one machine you can make every product on Earth.
Yeah.
It's pretty neat. Let me show you some delivery systems. Way back in 1992, Universal Studios gave me $1 million to set them up in the frozen lemonade business. And frozen lemonade is basically lemon Italian ice served in tall cups. Yeah. And you eat it with a spoon. Those machines are still running, by the way, and running very nicely since 1992. All they've ever done is change blades out every few years. They got the product made, and all of a sudden they're delivering it out into the park, and they realized, they called me up, they said, we're losing 31.7% of all our ice to it melting before we get it to where we want it to go. What do we do? And I was living up in New York, working in the Bronx, and I thought I saw an opportunity for a vacation in Florida. I said, I don't know, it's going to take me a week or so to come up with a solution, but I'll come down. So I made my reservations, got a cheap ticket, and they're expecting I'm going to come driving in with a golf cart with a refrigerated box on the back. I walked in with 2 of these, just a couple of Igloo coolers. And I said, here's your delivery system. And they were a little shocked, and later on they became pleased because the delivery system was so inexpensive. What they would do is now these are more heavily insulated than a normal Igloo cooler. It is an Igloo cooler. But it's designed for a job site where they put water and ice for the employees who are working on building buildings, roads, things like that. They want to keep the ice water cold for the employees. So this is a well-built box. It's only $20 at Lowe's. And you take a garbage bag or a sanitary bag and you line this with your plastic bag, or actually what they do, to be more specific, is they line this tub with the bag. Then they put it under here, under their big 44 quarts. They make 4 of these at once, and they're dumping the ice into the bag, twist tying it, pulling the bag out, and putting it up on the shelf in the freezer on Monday because they don't need it till Saturday. Then on Saturday, they take those bags, which are semi-frozen. They're at about 18 degrees, so they're malleable. They drop them in the cooler, put them in that, and they put them, and they ship, 200 of these out throughout the park. And this will keep the ice for about 4 hours without any refrigeration if you used it this way. They're just using it to transport it and then put it into their serving cabinets. But if it was you and you're doing a festival or something like that, and you didn't have electricity for a dipping cabinet, you can use these. It's a great way to do it. works for ice cream too. Another way to do it is this. You know those blue ice things that we put into a child's lunch to keep it cold? Well, this is just a version of that. Inside here is glycol, antifreeze, and it's double walled, and so you put this in the freezer. These are more expensive than the Igloo coolers. These are about $85 at any of the restaurant supply houses. Let's see how this is doing. Almost. That's been 9 minutes. We're looking for about 14. So this one, you take your tub of finished ice cream that's been in your freezer, and you just drop it in like that, and now you can scoop out of this for the next 4 hours or so. I've used them here at the factory. I'm experimenting. I put them out in the front office, and it holds the ice cream or ices very nicely for a number of hours. So again, very inexpensive without refrigeration if you're trying to get started or you're just doing a special event. One downside to this, they sell a lid, a domed lid. Excuse me. Looks very pretty, but you can't stack anything on a domed lid. So the domed lid is a bad idea. Don't buy the domed lid. Just put a piece of aluminum foil over it, or if they sell a flat lid, but a domed lid is not going to work for you. So save you about $30 right there. I'll make copies of this and send it around at a break. A lemon ice formula, where my total cost for a 3-gallon tub was $9.10. I figure 96 servings at $2.75 a serving. That's a gross profit of $264 out of one tub selling Italian ice. I mean, this is like stealing. Food costs $9.10. I net $2.55. And we're going to talk a lot about price today because prices of ices and ice cream have gone up, thankfully. We were so many years, Rod and I were stuck at a $2.50 ice cream cone. And it got to where you couldn't make a good quality ice cream for $2.50. It just wasn't possible. I'm just going to check it. I know it's not ready, but I'm just going to open this up and close it quickly and take a look. It looks very good. I'm going to let it go a little bit longer. Every flavor is different. The different flavors have different sugar contents. A strawberry ice might take longer than a lemon ice because strawberries are sweet. So you have a general idea of what it's going to look like, but we're still going to so we'll have a general idea of what the timing is. But we don't set, like the Italian machines, the Italian Chinese machines, they have a timer on it. So every time they make vanilla, it's perfect. They make strawberry or they make Italian ice, you got to go back and turn it on because it's not ready. Because the simple mathematics of it is the higher the sugar content, the longer the freezing time. Yes?
What flavors would you add like citric acid to, and how much do you add of citric acid?
Rod, why don't you take that?
So the reality is you should add citric acid to any fruit product. I should have added some to this. There is citric acid in the base, and there is some citric acid in our stabilization systems. But citric acid should be added to any fruit product, because what happens is, all fruit has a certain level of acidity to it, and when you put that in the mouth and take a bite of an orange, you can taste that acidity, right? So a lemon and an orange are the most acidic fruits. Cherries, blueberries, not so acidic, but they still all have some level of acid. So for items like orange or lemon, you want to add a higher level of citric acid and then lower levels on the fruits that don't have that same bite. The reason why you're adding, this is a great question, by the way. The reason why you're adding citric acid is when a manufacturer like us processes the fruits, we're driving off some of that natural acid note, and you want to put that back in there to drive the flavor. So in ice cream or ices, any fruit, you should add citric acid.
Is there a ratio or a certain amount?
I'd say, let's say for like 2.5 gallons of finished ice. For a strawberry, a lemon or an orange, 2.5 ounces of citric acid. For a blueberry, just a half an ounce. So you see the difference there?
What about something like a fake fruit, like blue raspberry?
So that's a raspberry, so you're going to be at about an ounce. Yeah.
I want to show you a little trick. Just a fast way to fill pints with my, I'll be right with you, infinite overrun control. I'm running at Italian ice speed, which is really full speed, but I want to fill some pint containers. And a nice simple way to do it is, this is designed for bulk, get it out fast. But I can take the speed and slow it down. You can hear it, it sounds like a jet engine going down.
This is an amazing
and
machine,
now
Steve.
It's easier to fill the pints because it's coming out slower. Isn't that great? Simple. So you can do a whole bunch of pints like that. Or now I want to get the product out because I'm ready to go. And here we go. Can I have a new one of these? Be right there. Turn off the refrigeration switch. Don't forget to turn it off or it's going to keep freezing. Watch how fast this comes out. You can't get that on a Capizani or anybody else. Now this has great advertising, what would you say, je ne sais quoi. Fat-free, cholesterol-free, you won't hear that again. Fat-free, cholesterol-free, sodium-free. I mean, this is just like the perfect stuff. It's off. Too late. So, there we go. A beautiful Italian ice. Isn't that nice?
That's ready to eat right now, and you're going to eat it.
All right, come on up and get it.
But this product will also store in an ice cream cabinet, and this is important, at 6 degrees Fahrenheit. It remains soft and pliable, scoopable. You can put it on an ice cream cone.
That's all there is.
Oh, come on. These are hardy people here.
Yeah, we're going to do that next.
Sweetened out, though.
Oh, don't worry about
That's
that.
a
They'll
12
eat ice
quart,
cream
but
all
it's the same
day.
as a 24. Same build. Excuse me? Absolutely. Yeah. No, because by slowing it down, you're not adding more air. There's nothing left in there. Christy can tell. Rinse out the machine. There is virtually just a few ounces left in this machine. Nothing. So we would start with lemon, and then we would go to orange, and then maybe mango, because they're all fruit flavors, and then we'd go to something darker like cherry, and then grape, and you're making multiple batches of each. So you've made a lot of Italian ice without even having to rinse it out. All I'm going to do is throw some warm water in there, let it slosh around for 30 seconds while Jeff's trying to talk, and I'll make noise, and we'll be ready to go for the next batch. That's simple. So with that, I'm going to, Christy, come on in for a second. Yes. Yeah. Just before you do, just come over here for a second. I want to introduce you to Christy. This is something, I'm a New Yorker. I lived in Rye, New York. I slept in Rye, New York, but I lived in the Bronx. And we're very proud of this. Can you zoom in on this? This was a headline from the New York Post back at Christmas. the headline, the side story was, Americans think New Yorkers are the least polite people on the face of the earth. And we're really quite proud of that. And the headline says, Merry Christmas, now get out of my face. That's me to a T. So I want to introduce you to Christy Brown. She, for the past year, has been taking your part orders, and she now is working her way into sales, ultimately to become sales manager. So in my office, I have the Vitraza, I'll give them a pitch, the Vitraza glass chair mat you've heard about. So my goal is to be able to, as my employees say, where's Steve? He's in his office sitting on his glass. And so if I annoy you, which is one of my favorite pastimes because I'm a New Yorker and my wife is too, you can call and ask to speak to Christy anything you want, and she'll get the job done for you. So when you call here, you can ask for Steve or you can ask for Christy, and between the two of us, we're going to help you with any machine questions you have. Mike is on the control board back in there. He's our senior tech. You want to say hi, Mike?
Hello, everyone.
There he goes. Yeah, the hidden voice. You'll never see what he looks like. He's just a voice on the TV, on the intercom, and on the phone. But he knows everything about Emery Thompson machines.
Very true.
So this is Christy. You'll be talking to her on the phone, and of course you can always talk. I'm available to talk to too. But the first line of defense is if you just have a quick question, where do I buy squeeze cups? You can call Christy, and until she becomes more New Yorker. I have taught them. It's a challenge to teach Southern people this, that there is no such place on earth as New Jersey. It doesn't exist. It's not a state. It's Jersey. Okay? You got a problem with that? Good. So thank you very much. Very good to see you.
Good to see you too.
All yours.
Good.
Oh, there's a question.
So
Go ahead. Yeah, sorry.
What about adding actual mangoes to it?
Dan, man, you were exactly where I was just going. Exactly. So what if you added mango pieces to this? Does anyone know the difference between Italian ice and sorbet?
There is none.
What'd you say, Steve?
There is none.
There is none. Or more. It's a perception. There's no FDA standard. It's just a non-dairy frozen dessert. The difference is perceived. I know there's a big ice creamery and gelato and Italian ice spot in New York City. And they make Italian ice, they make sorbet, and they make gelato, and they make ice cream. So I know this for a fact because they use all iRice products. They have a list of sorbet items. They have a list of ices. It's the same thing, but it's $4 more for the sorbet. However, because there is a perceived difference, a lot of people do want to add fruit or some particulate to the product to kick it up a notch. So the best way to go with the mango, the fruit is not going to work. The mango fruit is too soft. It's just going to break down in the ice cream. Get a few bags of frozen mango bits. Throw it into your batch about 2 minutes before it's ready to pull. That'll just give it time to, actually probably more like a minute. That'll give it time to draw through the whole batch. When you draw it out, now you'll have bits of ice cream. You can call it sorbet. You've added pennies per ounce. And you're at.
Just to reiterate what Rod's saying, there's a $2.50 Italian ice.
Whoa.
Everybody see that right there? That's called a squeeze cup. We squeeze it from the bottom and eat it and then throw it away. If you ask your paper supplier for squeeze cups, if you're in your west of New Jersey, they'll look at you like a deer in a headlight. So you tell them it's a pleated water cup, only made by Solo. That's $2.50 for this mango Italian ice. Here's your $5 sorbet, mango sorbet. There's the only difference is the presentation. We can get double the price or higher by calling it fresh fruit sorbet. That's it. Shall we turn it over
Who wants to make ices?
Yeah.
Who wants to make sorbet? But you have to understand your market also. Kids aren't going to buy sorbet. They're going to buy ice. Has anyone ever seen a blue raspberry sorbet? Probably not. But you know what the #1 selling ice is? Blue raspberry. Why? That's what the kids want, right? So just consider the market. If you want to do a sorbet, it should be the standard items that adults eat. You know, a raspberry, a lemon. Those are the biggest sellers.
You ever made a pickle?
Have I ever made a pickle?
Pickle sorbet or pickle ice?
You know, I'm not a chef and I don't go in for that stuff, but there's the one thing I love about the industry and what's going on today is there are so many flavor variations out there. And if you're making your own product, you can do anything you want. So if you want to make pickle ice cream, you go right ahead.
My gosh, you're so polite.
Pickle ice.
You're so polite.
And I'm not. I am. I'm not even from New York, and I'm not
7
polite.
pounds of sugar, 14 quarts of water, 2 quarts of pickles, and when it's still in your freezer, 6 months later, you just throw it out, okay?
Well, I had a snow cone stand for 15 years. My number one selling product was pickle snow cone. And it was straight pickle juice.
Okay, so here's a man who understands his
I had so many
market.
pickles.
Where are you from? Northern Minnesota?
No, I'm from Texas.
Okay.
Texas. Okay. So understand your marketplace. It's not that it doesn't sell. It's just it sells in regions. Okay.
I'm just as amazed. I'm not backing. I'm just telling you that was a fact. I couldn't keep it.
Well,
I didn't have enough pickle juice.
I got a great idea. You step over here,
Yeah.
and let's make some ice cream.
I only rented the room till 2 o'clock, so we got to move on.
Let's make some ice cream. Okay, pickles, you know. All right, we'll make some ice cream. The first ice cream that I've been told to make today, nobody tells me what to do. We'll make Nutella vanilla. Has anybody not had Nutella before? Do you not know what Nutella is? Okay, it's actually a hazelnut chocolate spread, and it's the food of the gods. I could sit down with a spoon and go, she's nodding.
My son ate it for 6 years straight.
Yeah.
In primary school.
Okay, so are you familiar with these? These are bladders. This is what the ice cream mix comes in. You need ice cream mix to make ice cream. Basically, it's cream and skim milk and a few other things. It's not a bad product. If you're a coffee drinker with cream in your coffee, put this in your coffee and you'll freak out. It's so good. So these are bladders. There are 10 quarts in a bladder. And this is pretty universal around the country. They come 2 bladders to a case. They run anywhere, average $45 for the case. So these are about $22.50. When we did in class the pricing, we bumped it up to $25. What the heck, right? And we still made a boatload of money.
What's the butterfat of that, Jeff?
We use 10%. 10% butterfat. You can get them if you're going to a gelato, you'll go to 8% or 6%. If you're going up to a Haagen-Dazs, you'll go to 14%. But the crazy thing is, and I don't make any money on these machines, you got to believe me. But with this infinite overrun control on this machine where you can vary the speeds, you can vary the thickness of your ice cream. You can, instead of running it at 234, which is regular homemade ice cream, you can run it down to 175 like a gelato, and your ice cream will be that much thicker and creamier and richer. However, you'll get less yield, of course, because there's less air being put into it, which is not a bad thing. What? What?
Sorry.
So, I don't really have a recipe yet for this because it's brand new, but we'll work it out. And we'll also, you wanted a variegate, right? Yes. So we'll variegate this, okay? We'll get to that in a minute. So this is a 24-quart machine, and all my recipes, I did bring only 5 books with me, so if you want a book, let me know. They're ridiculously overpriced. My recipes are geared for, in my machine, which is a 24, 10 quarts. Now, let's just see how the caliber of the audience. Let's say we weren't making it in this machine. Let's say we made it in that machine. How much mix would you use?
Divide by 4.
How much?
Divide by 4.
How much?
Was 6, right?
How much?
3.5 quarts.
How much?
2.5.
Thank you. Okay. So it took all of you and then a 22-year-old in the back nail it. Okay, enough said. So we'll add this. You just got, if you haven't worked with these before, just give them the respect they deserve, because if you drop it, they'll explode. And then you got 4 hours of cleaning up to do. Because it's cream, it's basically cream. At my store, you can get them delivered two ways. You can get them delivered like this. Well, I'm sorry, you can get them delivered one way, but you can use them two ways. You can use them right away like this, or you can freeze them. During the break, check out in the freezer there where Sammy's sitting, and you'll see frozen. Frozen, they'll last, he'll be able to use them. Ben, you're 12, right? 11. Ben will be able to use them when he's making ice cream. But in this state, you're looking at maybe 2 weeks. It's the same as putting cream in your refrigerator. I keep my refrigerators low, like 36. But 40 is really pretty much average. So they'll last 2 weeks. But you'll get weekly deliveries. How many people here are from Florida? In Florida, there are two places where you get mix. One is down in South Florida in Boynton Beach called Ice Cream Club. The other is on the West Coast in Sarasota called Dairy Mix. And they'll both deliver to you. It's a question of preference. The last thing I remember is that Ice Cream Club doesn't come down to 10%. They start at 12%, I think. So our resident expert here on everything just informed me that they now make a 10%. Is that right?
Up to 16, correct? 15.
Actually, you can go up to 18. I don't know what they make locally, but there are places 18. Because as Steve has always told you, the fat wars, which is stupid. Now, I use 10%, and I guarantee you can't tell the difference between my ice cream and Haagen-Dazs at 16%. You can't.
Have you tried to do fatter than 10%?
Yeah, I tried 12 and I dumped it. I didn't like it. No, especially in Florida. You from Florida? In Florida, when the weather gets warm, you can't eat high-fat ice cream. I mean, you just feel it. Whoa, no good. So I like it. Well, you'll see, you'll taste it. Whatever you want. But you can go wherever you want to go. Okay? So this is a 24-quart machine, and let's see. Oh, okay, we're going to make Nutella vanilla. Now, I used to use Nutella right in here, and it works, but it's really sloppy. I mean, you can't pour Nutella. It's really thick. So I came up with a way to incorporate it into the machine kind of easily, and that is using this and a little mix. That's just a little frozen. All right, let's put it here. And now put the Nutella in here. As you can see, it's real thick. So you did a good job yesterday of this.
Thank you. Did you use the whole bucket?
Let's see.
Okay. He's never made it before.
Oh, you see how hard this is to work with? It's really, but that's how good it is. You've had Nutella before, right?
Yes.
A lot of it? No.
Oh, yeah.
No, you're still pretty trim. You eat a lot of this.
Could you put it in the microwave and warm it up?
You could. Who sees a microwave here? Okay. The reason it's this hard is that I drove here an hour and it was in the trunk. But all we have to do is get it into this bucket. So you can talk amongst yourselves. Look Look, I got the best laugh out of the pickle guy. Go figure. Go figure. Now, I got to tell you, when you buy this, it's not, and you usually won't buy it in this kind of quantity. This is 106 ounces. In the store, you can get smaller ones. Has anybody not tasted this? Okay. You haven't tasted it? Come on up here.
I've never tried it.
Get a spoon.
Take a little bit?
Yeah. Try that.
That is good.
Isn't that amazing?
That tastes like Hershey's chocolate.
Well, it's a little better than Hershey's chocolate. Well, I'm getting a little tired of this.
You should go through somehow, do it. You did such a good job.
How about a metal thing? What do you think?
Yeah.
We could use a big metal thing, but I don't see a big metal thing. Oh. I should have asked you to do this, you know? You'd have it done already, wouldn't you?
Probably not.
Now, what did we make with this the other day in class?
It's the same thing you're making now.
Nutella vanilla. Okay, we're going to change it a little.
No, it was that. It was a chocolate. Mix. Yeah,
I know, it's not very interesting, is it? That's all right.
It was velvet.
Oh, chocolate velvet, that's right. So we haven't made this, right? And I chose this so that we can do your variegate.
Thank you.
You ever see the ice creams that have the stripes running through it of different flavors and stuff? What do you say? Yeah. That's a variegate. And we'll show you how to do it. So, and you can even do it in ices or cream ice.
What's the variant you use?
What?
What flavor are you doing?
Well, I'll tell you in a second. As soon as I did, it's like work here. I didn't sign on for this. A microwave wouldn't be a bad thing, would it? Although it'd probably explode somehow. All right, can you do a variegate in Italian ices? You see, let me tell you about Italian ices. Italian ices go back a long time, obviously. They say the pharaohs invented it with snow and flavor. However, in my lifetime, Italian ices have always been a cheaper, more basic product. But I don't think there's any reason why you can't bring Italian ices into the 21st century with ridiculous flavors, with variegates. You know, if you're going to open up a store for Italian ices or a stand or whatever and sell lemon, cherry, and chocolate or mango, I think you're missing the future. I think the future is this stuff and ribbons of swirls going through it and exotic flavors. That's just my opinion. All right, so now we have 106 ounces. How much are we going to use? All of it. We have 106 ounces of Nutella in 10 quarts of mix. Right? Well, that's not 10, but it will be once we get it in the machine. Hang on 1 second. Stuff gets everywhere. So now the goal is to mix it up. And 10 years ago, when I was trying to mix stuff up, I think it was peanut butter at that time, or Reese's cups I was making ice cream. A friend of mine was sitting there and we were talking. He was watching me make it. And I was using this. And after about 5 minutes, he said, "Stop." And I stopped and he said, "I'll be right back." And 15 minutes later, he came back from Home Depot with a paint mixer. A paint mixer, that's all this is. As a matter of fact, it comes a little longer. This morning I had my new one cut down. And it's a paint mixer. And I wish the camera could see this. Mike, you can't see this, can you? Mike?
You fell asleep.
I can't see a real good shot of it.
Okay, just want to make sure you're still there. All right, but you can see the color here, right? On the side, everybody? So you talk about efficient. This is efficient. And this was pretty hard and thick, wasn't it? At the store, it went much, right? It was done already. But that's all right. What do you else have to do? You got nothing to do. Free ice cream, free lunch. Just sit and behave yourself. What happened?
Too thick.
What? No.
Well, you used the battery drill this time. You had electric.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
See, I should have used their drill.
Turn it up.
You can't, can you? No. Should have used your drill. Well, it's not the torque.
We'll get it out for the next one. I'll be right back.
There is no next one. But it's working. We're getting there. Just take it. But you're right, the electric drill, no problem. It's not my new paint mixer, is it? No. Cordless drills suck. Ah, there we go. Nice color, working good. Now, really, all we have to do is be able to get it in there because the world's greatest mixer is here. So I just don't want to leave a lot of it on the sides here. But so you're eating it. I'm not selling it, so. Okay, that'll have to do. Yike. Now, should I do this to get it off?
No.
No? Front row. Remember, what's his name? Front row used to have to wear ponchos? Gallagher. Gallagher. Let's see. Who wants to lick the beater? I do. All right, so now we'll pour this in here. But of course we should have, why is this so high? This should be lower. That's another thing. He just added this to the machine's adjustable shelves. I don't have that. All right, so now we'll throw this in here. Ooh, is he going to spill it? Not too bad.
You pour more mix in that.
Yes, I can, and then do it again, right? That's how you would do it with pure pickle juice.
I guess I didn't miss anything while I was out. Well, I left when you were talking about pickle juice. Sorry, it's a little warm. Our air conditioning was off. It's being re-turned on right now.
All right, just add a little more of this stuff and we'll be good. Okay. Now what do we need?
Breaking for break.
Come on.
The rest of the mix.
The rest of the mix, of course.
And dog flying.
That's Mike Black, future successful. What's that?
If you didn't know what you're doing, we're messed up.
I love the accent. I could listen to him talk all day.
Oh, no.
Richard Meyer, right there.
We need you.
Okay, so who's keeping track of the recipe? Anybody? Nobody. Nobody cares. Just give me some of the ice cream.
They care. They'll all be calling tomorrow for the formula.
Of course. You drink your coffee with cream in it?
Just a splash of...
You should use that.
Really?
Oh, God, it's unbelievable.
Okay.
All right, so now all we have... Oh, let's add a little vanilla. Is this vanilla, by the way? This?
Yes, it is.
Okay. We'll add a little vanilla to that.
A little vanilla.
Well, my general formula is 1 ounce of vanilla for 1 quart of mix. It's much higher than it ever was in the industry. Everybody put in 1 ounce per batch. Is that right?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Maybe
And
2.
then- yes, sir.
Is that extract or flavor?
Right.
Extract.
Extract.
If we find one.
All right, so we have vanilla, we have Nutella. Hey, get it?
Vanilla, Nutella.
All right, so we'll turn it on. And we'll mix that up. Now, we want to make a variegate. A variegate, the stripes in the ice cream, it looks so pretty. We'll try that. So to make a variegate, we'll take a little of the mix. Because we want to have the integrity of the flavor throughout the whole deal. But we do want a color change so you can see the stripes. Hello, is this working? Yeah. Okay. So we'll add a little chocolate, which should darken it a little. Just a little. And I thought I saw this, let's add a little Kahlua. Okay?
Yeah.
Why not? Just a splash. And then we'll see if we get darker. Never saw Bobby Flay do this, did you?
Can I turn on the refrigeration?
Okay. That was a snide remark.
Yeah, it was.
Thinking I forgot.
No, I know you did.
But I like to have my variegate ready. Good out, right? Okay, we have dark. Now, you know what? To thicken it up a little, I have a little, what? A little cocoa powder. That should thicken it up a little, right? Hello?
Yes.
Okay. Ooh, I want to tell you, tough crowd today, you know?
They're so enthralled they can't speak.
Yeah, right. They're speechless. So we'll add a little cocoa powder and see if we can thicken it up that way. Just a little. We could almost use that drill thing, couldn't we, at this point? The variegate you want a little thicker than your ice cream, and you want to let the ice cream run a little longer than you might, so that when you combine the two, the variegate doesn't ooze into the ice cream and become just another part of the ice cream. You want it to maintain the stripes. So this is what we have so far. It's not quite thick enough for me. So I guess we'll add a little more of this.
Should it be like a consistency of cake mix?
What?
Should it be the consistency of like a cake mix or a batter?
Like heavy gravy. Yeah. Well, you'll see. After the first time when you screw it up, you'll understand. Well, you do. I'm still not great at it. The reason that this ice cream would be done already, but the reason it's not, let me see, why is it taking a little longer in the machine?
Because you forgot to turn it on.
Sugar.
No, no, that's not it.
Tell them, Steve.
High content of sugar.
High content of sugar.
Very
How
good.
many- what's 16 into 106? 16 into 106. 6, right? Where's that kid? Where is he? Where'd he go? Oh, there you are. Oh, no, okay. Ixnay on math, right? Anyway, 6 pounds of Nutella. Nutella's real high sugar, right? You know your Nutella. Okay, so let me move this because we'll have to see a variegate. So that's my sermon on vanilla. We can talk at the break and I'll tell you what I did for vanilla. But of course, I don't get it for free like my friend Steve does.
No, but you use mine like you get it for free.
Absolutely.
Jeez. He used to be an ounce for 500 gallons until he found out he could buy it for free.
I used to measure it out with a dropper. Now it's here, it's free.
When we posed for that picture, we had to take the boxing gloves off.
Like Alfred E. Newman. Who knows who Alfred E. Newman is?
I do.
And Alfred E. Newman used to say, what, me worry? All right, how we doing here? It's still taking a long time, a lot of sugar. Okay, what do I want to talk about now?
Where did you buy your vanilla?
I think we should discuss that after the break.
Come to his
Just in respect to the...
It's in his book.
It is, isn't it?
It's in your book.
Yeah, it is. You know, look, you can... I disagree with, as you know, we talked the last couple of days, I disagree with a lot of the industry. Rod's in the industry, Steve's friends are in the industry, and I go against a lot of it. In making everything, ices, cream ice, and ice cream. It's just what I feel, you know? Yes, sir.
You add a Kahlua to the mix. Does that make it now a more adult ice cream? Or
well, I don't think I added a lot.
Right.
I just added a splash. If I were making this for sale in the store, I'd probably add a full bottle. Right. But what I added was really just a kicker, for a little flavor. But I would add a bottle. Later, we're going to make a flavor. Later, we're going to make a flavor that is it's the first time. How long have we been doing this class?
10, 12 years.
First time that we're making a full-bore adult flavor. Look at her. Not only does she like Nutella, but we're going to make a full-bore ice cream later. It's cherry amaretto. And I got to tell you, let me tell you how this happened. I was sleeping about 2 months ago in the middle of the night. True story. I woke up, cherry amaretto. And I wrote it down, because I always do that. And the next day I went in and I played with it. And now it's the first time I made it, it was a cream ice. And we called it cherry amaretto freeze. Because you can't call anything cream ice. They'll think you have a sex shop or something. So we called it cherry amaretto freeze. And people went crazy for it. And then I was making it a follow-up to it. All right, I'll tell you. And I didn't have enough amaretto. I keep a full liquor. I didn't have enough amaretto, so I decided to change it and make it cherry amaretto ice cream. And now, all bets are off. I mean, we can't keep enough of it. So that's what we'll make today, cherry amaretto ice cream. Now, how do you know when it's ready? This is so critical. What? Yeah, when it holds a peak is my way to judge when it's ready. And I always pull it sooner than Steve. Wait, let's strike that. I don't. So it.
Yeah, there is no wrong way.
Well, there is a wrong way. That's what I'm getting at. There is a wrong way. I was teaching somebody to make ice cream the other day, 2 days before Christmas, and everything. And then I left. That's all right, we'll edit you out.
All right, thank you.
And then I left, and then she continued to make another flavor totally on her own. Now, the yield in this machine is generally 6 gallons. 6 of these. I use 1 gallons. 6 of those is the yield in a 24-quart machine. So I said to her that night, how'd you do? She said, I think I did great. I said, how many did you get? She said, little over 7. So there's a problem, right? What's the problem? I don't know how that works.
Too much air.
Too much air, which meant what? She waited too long to pull it. So it's just barely holding a peak. Now, when you use a Variegate, you got to let it go a little longer so it's stiffer, because you're going to be pouring this in and working with it. So if we pulled it now at this, it's going to be too thin, and the Variegate will just dissipate right into the ice cream, and it won't look like anything. This is really for looks. You know, the taste is okay, but it's really for looks, and you'll see how pretty it does look, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You're easily amused.
I have a low amusement level, that's true.
So that's why you want it a little stiffer. So when she told me she got a little over 7 gallons, I knew that she let it go too long. Now, there's a certain amount of pride there. I got 7 out of it. You only got 6, but no good. We tasted it. And what do you think it tasted?
Too airy.
A little weak. It was weak because you're taking the flavor of 6 gallons and now spreading it to 7. Yes?
Is that what that Halo ice cream is? Just airy ice cream?
That's right.
Well, actually, you go to the store and buy Breyers these days. Get a half gallon, open it up, and let it sit. And in 2 hours, the ice cream that was this high in the half gallon will be this, and it'll be just milky. Breyers really changed. When I was a kid, Breyers was the gold standard in ice cream. I loved Breyers. I used to go in the middle of the night to the refrigerator when I was a little fat kid. Now I'm a big fat kid. And I used to open the bottom and eat the ice cream so my parents wouldn't know that I was raiding. It's a true story. I used to do it all the time.
Ready?
Almost. Boy, look at how pretty that is. Smooth, right?
I think Halo Top is the worst idea of a frozen dessert that ever existed. And I hate their marketing program because it's designed towards women to tell them that you can eat the whole container without guilt. Well, what's the sense of eating a whole container of a garbage product? They did, however, get sued because people said, I opened the container and it was only half full. Well, the supermarket let it melt sitting on the back loading platform before they put it in the freezer, and I offered to come up as an expert witness, as much as I hate their product, and say no, they are producing at a 100% overrun or half air product, and since it was allowed to melt, the act of God, there was nothing wrong with it. There was no lawsuit there. They didn't take me up on the offer because they'd seen my videos like this saying, that's the most awful garbage on earth. But I try to be fair.
Wow.
Good?
Ooh.
This is the one with a little Kahlua in it.
No, this is the little Kahlua.
Oh, the Kahlua's in there.
Right,
Okay.
nothing, there's only Nutella and cream.
Oh, boy.
And a little of your expensive vanilla.
I'm going to try a taste before it all disappears.
Try this here.
Okay.
Now we make this also.
That's good.
Isn't it? In the store we make this with chocolate mix. And it's called?
Chocolate Nutella.
Chocolate velvet. Right. Okay, so let's pull it now. And we'll see what happens. Now we'll
Michael,
get,
you pop me down. I have to go sign.
You hear the compressor click off? That's what I always wait for before I pull it. Oh, that's right. You want to help me or what?
Yeah.
No, I could have done that. Okay. Now we can stop it because we're going to turn it on in a bit. So we have almost 3 gallons of the ice cream that we're going to use. Now, this is what we made, which has chocolate, the base, give it Nutella flavor, and some Kahlua, right? So all we'll do is we'll pour it over the top, a little of it. And we'll give it, usually 4 folds. So we're going to fold, 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 and fold. And then you need this squeezable, look, every eye is up here, wow. You need this squeezable container because what you do now is you squeeze it as you pour it. And you'll see we should get...
That does look nice.
So you have to be careful not to do more than 4, maybe 5 folds, because what happens then? It just incorporates into the ice cream.
Right, and you can now see if the ice cream isn't as thick as this was, or I would even let it go a little more, to tell you the truth. But then, you know, it'll just dissolve. But that's pretty good.
Mm-hmm. That's really good.
I'll be the judge of that.
Okay. So we got one. Now we're going to have to re-variegate.
Hey, Jeff, that's pretty good.
That's good. So now we'll re-variegate into a little more. And we'll give it some folds. Truthfully, you probably know, I don't. I don't know how they variegated before I came up with this. How do they do? No, I'm serious. I don't know.
I have no idea.
I still don't know how they do it. Steve will probably know. Okay.
A similar concept, hand variegating, is similarly done like that.
How would you variegate?
The pickle guy won't know.
How would you variegate?
So I'd pull off 1/3 of a tub, and I'd put a layer over the top of that, and I'd do a checkerboard pattern. So down, straight down and pull, straight down and pull, and then go the other way. That gives you good incorporation of the variegate through the ice cream, and it brings it right to the corners. Then I do another layer, do the same thing, the 3rd layer, the same thing, and then put some on the top. Now, this is an excellent way to do it.
Now you said you have a product, iRice, that's a variegate.
Well, manufacturers like us make variegates. Okay, so we make chocolate variegates, caramel variegates, salty caramel, marshmallow, peanut butter, fruit variegates, and so they're already pre-made. You just add it the exact same way as what Jeff's doing.
And obviously you can control whether you want a lot of stripes or little stripes or whatever. But I think one of the keys is to put some of the mix after you blend your flavors into this, because I like the variegate to have a little of that, like this, the variegate will taste a little Nutella-y. Is that a word?
It is today.
It is today. A little Nutella-y. Not hard, is it? But what do you need? The absolute thing you need, a squishable bucket. Can't do it without a squishable bucket, because when you squish it, that's what makes those stripes. All right, we should get one more and then we'll start eating it. Now, can you do this with Italian ice, cream ice? Damn right you can. And nobody's doing it. So do it.
What would you use in the ice? What would you suggest?
It depends. Give me a flavor of ice.
Cherry.
Cherry?
I don't know.
How banal. Come on, let's get something a little whippy. Cherry banana with chips in it.
Oh,
Okay?
Rainbow.
Rainbow. Come on, you're back in the 50s, Sammy.
How would you do rainbow?
How about pickled maple bacon?
But to use your example, cherry. So if you start selling cherry, you're going to be like every ices maker in the world. Don't do it. Step outside. Cherry banana chip. Now we're cooking a little bit. So let's say cherry banana chip. What would you make as a variegate? Come on, you tell me.
Banana would be the variegate?
Well, banana usually.
Chocolate.
Hey, because you got chocolate chips. So make a chocolate. Take your flavor of cherries and bananas. Put it in here. Make a swirl. Use some cocoa powder or anything to thicken it, and then add some chocolate. Add whatever you want. If you really want to go out of the box.
Chocolate and ice, wouldn't that be gross?
No, it's good.
Yeah?
That's really good.
What?
Chocolate and ice.
Oh, yeah.
People love it. People really do love it.
A lot of people do soft serve with it for a gelato.
You know what the problem is? The problem is, for 100 years, ices have been the same thing, lemon cherry chocolate. Then they branched out, ooh, how about Superman ices or you know, what? But they're still in the basement when you got the whole building to go up. Look at all the ice cream flavors and make them ices. Ice cream flavors are the gold standard because they're coming up with great things. Translate it to ices or cream ice. Should we try this? You want to try this? It's pretty good. Okay. Rod, you going to scoop a Ruski?
I am.
Okay. I'm going to start with the first one or the last one. I don't care.
I want you to get some striping, so.
Whoever says just a little, they're lying.
Thank you, sir.
Now, of course, it would be better if we put it in the freezer and let it set up a little. But that's all right.
We talk about the mix that we use, dairy mix over in St. Pete. And people call up from Wichita and San Diego and say, how do I get that mix? Well, the answer is you don't. You need to buy it locally because you don't want to ship liquids across the country. Shipping is by weight and volume. And this would have to go refrigerated, and it weighs a lot, and it would be horribly expensive. It would add too much cost. But right in San Diego, there are great dairies. In Wichita, there's great dairies. And so this is a product that you pick up locally. And the product itself is milk, cream, sugar, and skim milk, basically. Same things you would do if you were doing it at home, except you wouldn't know to put the skim milk in. Now, skim milk is all the good stuff that it makes up heavy cream, but without the fat in there. So we get more of the good stuff without adding more fat. And the people who put this together are not mad scientists. They are dairy people. They work around cows. I saw a cow once. And they know how to put this together. They know things that we don't know. I mean, people talk about wanting to make your own mix, and this is America. You can do anything you want, but if you want to pick something complicated, that's it. And basically because, not to dissuade you from doing what you want to do, but unless you know the difference between the fat output of a Holstein, a Jersey, and a Guernsey cow, there's one strike against you. If you don't know the fat difference between winter and summer, there's another strike against you. McDonald's may be a lousy hamburger, but it's the same lousy hamburger whether it's here or in Seattle or in Reykjavik, Iceland. No matter, wherever you go into a McDonald's, you know what you're going to get, and you went in there because that's what you wanted. If we're having the ice cream blend change between winter and summer and between sources as far as cows, your product's going to be inconsistent. And then people start to say, oh, his ice cream's really good in March, but I wouldn't touch it in November. You have to be even. when I was doing demonstrations way back when of going into ice cream parlors, I would have the owner, there's the owner, and over there is the employee, and I would say to the owner, I would say to the employee, now, if you drop a metal spoon in this machine and it stops, don't worry about it. Tell the owner. Owner, you're not going to fire him if he drops a spoon in the machine. You're going to call Emery Thompson Company. We're going to tell you what to do, have you back up and running in 5 minutes. If you don't know that he dropped that metal spoon in there, it might change something in the machine so your product gets different from what it was. So, employee, you're not going to get fired if you drop a metal spoon in there. But then the employee comes along, and it's 11 o'clock at night, and he's there to work till 6 a.m. making ice cream, and he's got these 3x5 file cards with the boss's recipe on it. And he goes, you know, the boss is a jerk. You know, he's putting in 5 ounces of vanilla, and I only like 1 ounce of vanilla. So I'm going to make it my way. If we find out that you're doing that, we are going to very politely break your kneecaps, drag you out into the street, and then shoot you, because you have just ruined our consistency. Whether the boss knows how to make the product or not doesn't matter. It's the boss's product. It's what he's been selling for 10 years, and the public likes it. We never want to change that formula. So that's mix. So now we're going to make what, Rod?
We're going to make a chocolate mousse. Chocolate mousse ice cream. Using 10% mix, because it's Florida.
Did you ever hear of chocolate mousse?
Ice cream?
No, how they sound? Mousse. I can't believe that picture. The only problem I've got with that picture is we both look the same age, and I'm so much younger than you. So I've got the CB-350 all set up. I just rinsed it out. I did 2 quick warm rinses, and we're ready to go.
Hey Steve, quick question.
Yeah.
On the mix, is the only thing that really varies the butter fat content? Do they keep the sugar mixture pretty standard?
That's a great question. I don't know the answer to that. I don't know if the sugar content changes. And all you can have 4 16% mixes, and they're going to be 4 different formulations. They're going to taste different. So what I do, if I go into a new market, let's say I'm going into Wichita and open up an ice cream parlor, and there's 3 dairies in town. My way of picking a dairy is I bring in all 3, I use the same amount of vanilla, and I make vanilla ice cream on the machine, all 3 samples. And then I judge them. I have friends taste it and get their opinion, but the only opinion that counts is mine. Okay, I like this mix over these 2. But my mix that I pick costs 15 cents a gallon more than the other 2. Well, I like it enough that I'll accept the price increase. So I've picked my mix, I've picked the price, but then it turns out that the guy who's selling me this stuff is a real SOB and not very friendly at all, and I'm giving them $30,000 a year, and they don't make deliveries on time, they argue with me. I just don't want that from a supplier. So I might go to someone else. And we had back in New York, we had 2 main dairies. I won't mention them. But Panza and Sons, Vito Panza is a real sweetheart. He's in Edison, New Jersey. And back in the day, I may be ruining his accounting by saying this, but back in the day, you had a real bad winter in New York, lots of snow. You're not selling a lot because people can't even get out. Vito would say to you, you know what, I know it's a rough winter. We'll cut back on your bill a little bit in January and we'll add it on to July when you're making money. The other dairy, you call up and you say, you know, it's a really rough winter and I'm going to be a week late on the bill. He sends my guys, Bruno and Pickles, out to discuss it with you. And I don't want to work with a company that's going to send people out to discuss the bill with me. So those are my variables on the mixes. The taste, the cost, and do I like the people? And the do I like the people is really quite important. There's one Italian company for flavors I won't work with because I don't like the people. They're not friendly. So they're not in this room. Sorry.
That was a compliment.
Yes. Your products are all over the place. I got it right here.
Oh, in that bladder.
Yes. Now, we froze this. I'm only using it once every 2 months, so I get a delivery in, and I freeze it in just a plain freezer, and then to thaw it, it's not easy to thaw. I take it out 4 days in advance and put it in the refrigerator. And it will come up back to liquid. You got to be real careful about that because, I mean, frozen mix is fine. If it means that you can use a distant supplier and bring it in, great. But you've got to, if there's so much as a half dozen ice crystals in here, just little ice crystals, they will translate right into the ice cream and you'll taste ice in your ice cream. So you've got to make sure you thaw it properly. How much would you like? 4 quarts?
Yeah.
The colder you can get a product, the longer it'll last. It's more about how long you're going to keep it. I know the Italians, they sell these little tiny blast freezers for outrageous prices. You only have to leave it in there for 2 hours and then you can use it. Well, that's not the way America works. Our ice cream parlors, this is why I don't want to go into it in great detail. We are completely different. They make ice cream. When I was last over in Florence, I walked in at 10 in the morning. I said, can I have a tiramisu? I'm sorry, we ran out a half hour ago. I shrugged my shoulders just like an Italian and over there because I knew that a half a block away was another gelateria and I would get my ice cream there. Americans aren't that way. Paula and I might go up to Cape Cod once every 2 years and I can remember how 4 C's mint chip tastes. It's wonderful. 4 C's ice cream can't say to me, I'm sorry, we ran out a half hour ago. That's not the way we work. Americans have to have every flavor they advertise on the menu, or we're not going to deal with you. So it's a matter of he's got 30 gallons of mint chip ready to go for this weekend because he's going to go through it. So a little hardening cabinet like that's not going to do any good. I mean, if I had the money to do it when it's not that bad, I would build a walk-in freezer at 15 below just because, not whether because Jeff's right or Rod's right or I'm right, because I can run this machine, any of these machines, 24 hours a day. But once I fill up my freezer, whatever it is, I can't make any more ice cream because I have no place to put it. This thing will just produce all day, all night, but if you don't have a place to, what good is this much hardening space if I can only put 1 tub in it? Okay, I'm now finished for the day. Americans have to have every flavor that they advertise all the time. If it's not on there, it's because Jeff decided we're not going to sell that flavor anymore. So we're going to move on and put the rest of the ingredients in, otherwise we'll be here till next Tuesday.
The spatula.
Nope. Here.
Got lots of those.
Here. Okay.
So we're going to make a chocolate mousse. This product is using one of our chocolate bases, our standard, originally developed ice cream chocolate. Okay, the ingredients of this are just cocoa, sugar, corn syrup. That's it. Okay, so the percent cocoa in this is about 21%. Not about, should be exactly 21%. So this chocolate alone will give your product a really nice finished chocolate in the cabinet, good chocolate flavor, a good color, not too dark, not too light. If you add too many cocoa solids, and the percent, if you add over 25% cocoa solids, your ice cream will never freeze down properly. It'll always be soft. So with the chocolate, you're going to have a softer ice cream anyway because the solids are higher. Same with the buttered pecan ice cream because you have high solids from molasses and brown sugar, etc. You always want to put those ice creams in the corner of the cabinet because you have more cold space, right? So we've added the chocolate. We're gonna kick this up a notch, and we're gonna make a chocolate mousse ice cream. We're adding pasteurized egg yolks to this. So we make a product we call it Bavarian base. It's basically pasteurized egg yolks and corn syrup. So what this will do is it'll fluff the product slightly, and it'll just give it a slightly different flavor note than a straight ice cream. So Bavarian base or pasteurized egg yolks were first developed by manufacturers like us to go into French vanilla ice cream. French vanilla has a higher percentage of egg yolks than standard ice cream mix. So it's actually 1.4% more egg yolks than standard ice cream. So if you want to make, Jeff, who doesn't use many products from any manufacturer, I don't think he uses, well, he does use a couple of ice Products. He does use the Bavarian base. He makes an old-fashioned vanilla, and actually Jeff's become our best salesman for this product. If you just add it to vanilla ice cream, 1.4%, it'll give you an excellent French vanilla finished ice cream.
We're going to, after this batch, we're going to have what we call questions answered, and we'll sit down and try to get you to ask even more questions. Because that's the best thing about this. People call me up all the time and they say, well, can you give me a couple of names of ice cream parlors in Baltimore that I can go visit and talk to them and learn how to make ice cream? And I know my competition will say yes, because they're shameless. But my answer is always no, I'm sorry. Because we sell so many machines, and I talk to about 40 people a day between 6 a.m. and 10 p.m. If I sent them all to your ice cream parlors, after about 6 months, you'd be really unhappy with me, because all these people are coming in to steal your ideas so that they can get into business. And it doesn't matter if you're in Baltimore and they're in San Diego, it's the same thing. Your feeling is they're there to steal your ideas. I once worked with a great ice cream parlor in Midtown Manhattan, and I brought my sister in from Australia and introduced her as my sister and everything else, and the guy was polite. And as soon as we left, he was on the phone to, I had a boss at the time, he was on the phone to my boss and said, how dare you let Steve Thompson come in here with some stranger and pass her off as his sister. And of course, I was so much younger that you couldn't tell we were brother and sister. I'm younger than the whole family. This stuff happens, and that's why when you ask that question, I will revert back to and say, well, we've got 392 of these videos. We give you all our formulas. You can call up and speak to the chief executive officer of the company. You can't do that in many places, but I won't give you the names. So this is your opportunity to ask questions and get it from people who have been in the business a long time. Yes?
It's interesting. If you actually went to his Mystic Ice Club website, you'd actually find people in those towns probably that are doing what we're going to be doing.
And you know what? That's a very good point, because on a website or a site like that, people are more open and free. We belong to NICRA, National Ice Cream Retailers Association, and we have a convention once a year somewhere in the country. Last year, this past November, it was in Charleston. And I don't know if it's the drinks with the little umbrellas in it or what it is, but everybody there is either in the ice cream business or going into the ice cream business, and of course ices. And they are absolutely thrilled with how well they make their products, and they'll share all their information at this convention. I tell people, yeah, we've got the booths, we've got things on how to hire employees, how to manage your paper goods. Your best bet is to go to the coffee breaks and just walk up to some stranger and say, hey, I'd like to go into the ice cream business, and I see you're from Savannah. Could you tell me a little bit about it? And they'll just spill their guts. They'll tell you everything you want to know. So it's rare, but when you get any information that you can get. Taking a course like Jeff's is going to give you invaluable information. Something like that is a master's degree in ice cream, and you just can't get that out of a book or anything like that. So any place that you can pick up information and then come back to us and say, well, Steve Christensen says this, Steve Thompson says that, which one's right? And then I'll do my best to explain why we have a difference on that. I mean, if there's any project to do in the world, there's 10 different ways to do it. And we present some of them here. How's it look?
Come along, another minute.
Okay. I got to go check on another ice cream. I'll be right back. I forgot I've got a lunchtime ice cream for you. Yes?
Between my flavors, if I'm going to go from like a chocolate to a vanilla, I'm going to pour like a gallon of water through that, right?
Yeah, but shame on you.
I know, I would do my vanilla first, then my chocolate.
Right.
No. No, it doesn't matter the color of the mix you're using. What matters The inclusions.
right.
That's all you got to worry about. You can go from chocolate
Okay,
to
if you
vanilla
can stand
without
over
rinsing.
here so they can.
If you don't
the
have
camera can
nuts,
see.
berries, sprinkles,
You can see this
chips,
product
and all
coming
that
out. That's beautiful. And he left the
Think
refrigeration
about
on. Hear that?
You don't make ice cream.
You won't even
He left the
notice
refrigeration
color
on,
change.
so now it's freezing to the walls, and that's the problem. That's the grinding noise.
Aren't you glad I
We'll
did
go
that
over
so you
quick.
can show them how not to do it?
Absolutely.
I didn't need the timer. I needed to turn the freezer off.
Okay, well, let's come on up and try this, and then we're going to sit down and
So
answer
again,
some questions for you.
chocolate mousse.
The book is 50, normally 60, but he makes me charge less. Does that sound good?
So this is where your opportunity to ask a lot more questions before lunch. Let me just get Sammy out of here. Excuse me. Come on, Sammy. This is
Andy, you get the first question, all right?
all right.
Hold it.
All right.
What do you got?
Grab her. Grab her.
Whatever it is, you won't give it.
Come on, sweetie.
Yeah, I heard that before, yeah.
What do you
Okay,
got? Sam?
first question comes from Andy. Andy, where are you from?
Maryland originally, and now I'm in Florida.
Okay, Andy from Florida, Maryland. What's your question?
What is your opinion of why, y'all got into the big discussion, said you weren't going to get into it, why hardening, or should I say the blast freezer is not necessary over a regular freezer?
You know,
Okay,
we've got this on
me
our
start.
100 videos.
Let me start. Steve, years ago, we were having a discussion in the Q&A, and somebody mentioned the hardening cabinets, and Steve answered by saying, you know, I can make ice cream at 12:30, and 12 hours later, I can sell it just by using my hardening cabinet. And my response was, you know, Steve, that's interesting. I can make ice cream at 12:30, and by using a $140 Sam's Club freezer, I can sell it 12 hours later.
We're not going to
Upset?
get into this subject because we've done it 100 times on videos, and I'll be happy to explain it. It's all about the makeup of the business. It's not how you treat the ice cream. It's how your business is set up. Are you selling what you made today? Are you selling it in 2 weeks from
You
now?
shouldn't have to
There's a-
sell what you made today.
So you can see we're not going to discuss it. It's not worth it.
I mean, for 10 years, what I make today, I sell tomorrow. It's kind of, okay, we won't get into it.
We won't get into
Steve,
it.
you had a question.
And don't be about hardening cabinets.
Hi, buddy.
No, it's not about hardened
Hi,
cabinets.
buddy.
I figured out what it was. Next question.
What was your question?
I can't think of it right now.
I remember what it was.
What was it?
You wanted to know how to clean the machine.
Right, okay, so now I'm making a product, right? And it have particulates, so
That's chocolate chips and nuts.
Inclusions, right.
inclusions, right?
Fancy words.
And so I'm going to take a gallon of water and I'm going to put it in the machine and I'm just going to run it out once. Right?
Sure. If that's a rinse.
That's the rinse.
Now, when I make ice cream, I plan out 6 or 8 flavors that I'm going to run.
Right.
And I try to put them in. Look, we know raisins are the last thing you make because you don't want an errant raisin finding its way into vanilla ice cream. People think you got a bug in there.
Right.
So raisins are always my last ice cream. Coconut is always second to last because those coconut flakes find their way everywhere. I use real coconut flakes. Then we get into chocolate chips and cherries and things like that. But as we said before, it's okay to go from making chocolate ice cream to vanilla ice cream. It's not going to matter because the amount, Steve's machines, and again, I don't get paid for this, but the cylinders, you see the cylinder there? That's from a 24 quart. They're canted. 5 degrees, Steve?
I don't know the exact amount, but it will drain.
They're canted so that when you extract the ice cream, pretty much everything's coming out. And if you saw what I did here, if you let it sit for 5 minutes while you're preparing other things so that the ice cream that's in the cylinder and the blades melts a little, just turn it on. And it'll push out everything else that's left in there. Finally left in there, I would say, is maybe an ounce, maybe 2 ounces of chocolate So you put that against all the vanilla that you're going to make, you won't notice any difference. Of course, that's not to say you can't, you can rinse it. It's fine. I don't rinse because I always feel that I don't want that water in there. I'd rather have chocolate cream in there than water in there, even though you're getting out 98% of it. Okay.
So rinsing is
Rinsing
simple.
is fine. It's simple.
very large openings. If you've ever run a soft ice cream machine, this is not it. A soft ice cream machine takes 40 minutes at the end of the day. So don't ever think about ever buying a soft ice cream machine unless you want to say, okay, our store closes at 10:30 tonight. You will be there till 11:30 because it takes that long to clean it. It's
And a full
nightmare.
breakdown of these machines, a full breakdown at the end of the day is less than 10 minutes. And I know this because I do it every day. 10 minutes, you're done. From the last batch of ice cream till you're wiping your hands and walking out the door. And that includes a quick mop of the floor.
Okay, so the steps when I'm cleaning it at the very end, I run like a gallon of just water through it.
Well, glad you
Then
brought that
I take it
up.
apart and
Well, here's,
everything. and
I
then-
just discovered, Steve and I talked about a week ago, I just discovered something after 10 years, a tip on the machines. I make ice cream with alcohol in it, some of them. Some have alcohol. But regardless, I work it so much that it freezes. It gets real cold, and I want to go out and have lunch after my last batch. I don't want to dally. So sometimes, and we noticed it yesterday, right? It was hard to open it, remember? It was frozen a little bit. So I thought about it, and normally you put a 3-gallon tub of water through the big machine and rinse it. So I thought, well, let's do that, but then let's take a 3-gallon tub and fill it with tepid water, a little warm, a little bit on the warm side. I don't know if other machines could handle it, and I didn't call him first, but I did it. And I ran it for longer than the normal rinse. I ran it for a minute, a full minute with hot, sloshy water going through it. And then I extracted the water as it's coming out. I opened the nuts on the machine, and bingo. No problem. So I do now a double rinse, the second one with warm water. And then it's simple. As the water's coming out into your 3-gallon bucket, take out the blade assembly, put it in the sink, a rinse on those, I don't know what they're made of, but it's like from Krypton. They just rinse right off, those blades, and put the springs in a little 1-quart jar. Am I overstepping this?
No, it's fine.
Okay. Put the springs in a 1-quart jar with the knobs from the machine, take the collar off, which is the part that holds the blades to the door, and put it in there. Put some soapy water as you're working, take the bucket, empty it. We did all this, right? It took like 8 minutes. It's nothing. And then wipe it around, and this is just wiping with water. You don't need stainless steel polish, you don't need chemicals, you don't need cinch or Mr. Clean, just a damp rag. And this stuff gleams, it glistens. And give it a wipe out, and then I take the door off every time, which surprised Steve. I guess most people don't take it off. I visited a cream ice store who had 244 Emerys. That door had never been off. And it's you get skeeved out a little bit, knowing that your ices are coming out of there, but that's another story. But I popped the pin, we did it, and take the door off, let it soak in the thing while I'm doing the other stuff, getting the blades clean, getting it reassembled, a little lube, and the door is then clean. Just shake it out and put it back on, drop the pin in, put the gasket back on, and you're ready to go. Literally 8 minutes.
When do I use this stair sheet?
Okay,
I'm gonna take
after it's
over
put,
on that.
okay.
I'm going to take care of that
Now
one.
the health inspector, I gotta explain this to the health
All right,
inspector.
so I'm
No,
going
you
to
don't.
I'm going to
No,
answer
they
that
don't
one.
know.
The first thing is when you mention 1 gallon of water, and he says 3 gallons of water.
Well, different machines.
It doesn't matter. I could put a quart in there. I think I'd like a little more, but it doesn't matter. It's not like making ice cream. We're not measuring ingredients. The machine has no clue whether you just put a gallon in or if you put 3 quarts in. It won't matter. It's a horizontal cylinder. It's sloshing it like a washing machine all the way around. So don't people worry about having to measure out your water for rinsing. You're just wasting time. It doesn't matter. Now, as far as sanitizing, the idea of a sanitizer, and I use Sterashine. Let me show it to you.
That's what I got.
I got one over here. And there's a reason I use Sterashine. Sterashine and all the others are basically a chlorine-based sanitizer. Chlorine is what kills just about everything, absolutely everything. So the reason for Sterashine, though, which is a chlorine-based product, is health departments recognize it. Health departments are not terribly intelligent. They're on a par or one grade above.
Say what you really feel.
They're motor vehicles with a white hat on. They're just terrible, and so you have to know more than them. But in some cases, I have been in places where if I'm in a foreign country and I can't get Sterashine, I can use one cap, not a cup, a cap full of Clorox bleach to a gallon of water and do what this does. But then I get the health inspector who says, "Oh my God, you put Clorox in your machine." I said, and of course I'm a New Yorker, so I got to be a wise ass. "Hey pal, what do you think I put in my swimming pool?" And that doesn't work. I've tried. So, I mean, it works, but it doesn't work with the health department. So I have this around, and they say, "Isn't that nice? He knows what he's doing." I have health inspectors who insist that you sanitize before you start making ice cream. Makes sense, doesn't it? And after you finish. Well, what if I just finish? Now, when we finish today, if I was to sanitize this machine, I can guarantee you, I'm not using that machine again until February 8th. So what is the purpose of sanitizing? Because I expect that between now and February 8th, all sorts of bugs are going to come into this room. Not curly bugs, I mean like flu bugs and, sneezing and stuff like that. So what's the sense of sanitizing at the end of the day? But if your health inspector says, "I want you to sanitize at the end of the day," yes sir, that's what we'll do, and that's what you do. It's what they say. But from a practical standpoint, you do it at the beginning. I know you're wasting your time.
Okay,
because
can I comment?
No,
okay.
Not yet. Because the sanitizer is not going to last overnight. It just won't. You sanitize just before. Does the doctor who gives you a shot in the neck, does he use the sanitizer on his hands last night? No, he does it 10 seconds before he's about to inject you with the shot. Do you clean off the space just before you get the shot? Go ahead, you're wrong.
Okay. When was the last time you sanitized your coffee mug before you had coffee in the morning?
No, never.
Oh, excuse me.
Never.
Hello?
We don't sanitize our coffee mug.
Of course we don't. And what about those bugs flying around? That's my coffee mug. Ah! Here's the deal. Inspectors, and you can cut this if you want, inspectors, they don't know this stuff. They don't know. They go to Olive Garden, they go to Carrabba's, they go everywhere else. They don't go to ice cream and ice stores with super knowledge. I've seen them for 10 years. I've had health inspectors. They come in, you know what they do? They take that gun and they want to know the temperature of all your freezers. And it's a digital readout. And then they go to your refrigerators where your milk and cream is stored and they hit it and they look and they look. And you know what they do then? They have a little ice cream and they're gone. They don't know what to do. Not that there's anything special to do. It's a very simple thing. The end of the day, break down your machine. When you put it together, add a bucket of, I use a 3-gallon bucket with a scoop of that powder, 3/4 of a scoop. Run it through, close your machine, go home and get a good night's sleep. The next day, open your machine up, pour everything in, make your ice cream. You're good to go.
When you're 104, I hope your last words will be, "Steve was right." Because he's just wrong. Let's move on to something more important.
And the reason, by the way, that I do it that way is because when Steve does it right before making ice cream, and it's a mental thing, I just don't want Clorox in the machine 30 seconds before I'm adding my ice cream mix.
Finally, we agree on something. It's a mental thing.
It is.
Yeah.
It's a mental thing.
Yeah, it is.
But it's still there.
Let's move on to some intelligent questions. Yes, sir.
At what temp should I be keeping that water ice froze? Like if I intend to sell that product maybe 3 or 4 days later.
15.
If you're making it with sugar, water, and fresh fruit, without the stabilizer, I keep mine at 16 degrees. The stabilizer is going to allow you to lower that temperature. So it's going to depend on the stabilizer if you're going to use one, and you have to judge that yourself.
Are you a cart business?
Yes.
Then you don't need stabilizers.
Okay, so just go on now.
You're going to sell it in 3 days.
Right.
So then you're going to make more.
Gotcha.
You're not keeping it for 6 months. Yes.
What advice do you have? This is new for us. I don't know what level everybody is at, but it's so...
We're all experts.
Yeah.
No, we don't know anything. Go ahead.
It's so different from what we do, and we have a few months before we open seasonally. So what advice do you have to calm the fears of...
Stay open year round. That's the first thing.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the last part because he interrupted you.
What advice do you have to calm the fears of, is this going to work? It's just scary.
Can't fail.
No?
Can't fail. Think about it. What are you selling?
Ice cream.
Ice.
A dessert, right?
Yeah.
How many people on this planet? 7 billion. Can you find anyone that doesn't want to have a nice cold frozen dessert? No, nobody. Nobody. So just do the right thing and you'll be successful.
Make it clean, make it fresh, make it delicious.
And don't make lemon
I'll get to you
cherry
in a second.
chocolate. You know, that's dinosaur stuff.
I wanted to talk about this, and it relates right to it. Last month, a business called Dean Foods went out of business in Texas. They're reorganizing, and they were one of the biggest dairy organizations down there. 2 days ago, Borden reorganized. They filed for Chapter S. You know, the milk people, Elsie the cow. They claim something that's a little false. They claim that people just aren't drinking as much, and that's why. Borden's doing it because they want to get rid of 400,000 people and move to Canada because of the new trade agreement, but that's neither here nor there. But people are drinking less milk. More people are drinking coconut milk. Ice cream sales in supermarkets are down somewhat, but they're always down because they're commercial ice creams. But you listen to the National Ice Cream Retailers Association, NICRA, or anybody in knowledge of homemade ice cream, sales are through the roof. They're incredible. And part of this is because there are, Jeff and me, he's younger, there are 72 million of us baby boomers, and we love our Haagen-Dazs and Ben & Jerry, our high-fat ice creams. There are 85 million millennials. That's bigger than us. Now, he made fun of me the last month because I said, I made up my own term. I said the baby boomers are aging out. So this time I was like, they're dying. Okay? They're dying off, and so you've got to look and see where your new market is. The new market is the millennials. And I have 4 millennial children. Right now, the age group is defined somewhere between 22 and 39. That will move. I mean, there's a lot of people who say they're baby boomers, and they're not. But those age things move. But it's a pretty good target for now. The millennials are looking at what we ate and just saying, are you out of your mind? All those chemicals, all those horrible stuff, we're just not going to do it. We're going to eat fresh food, fresh ingredients, fresh dairy. And the quality of the ice cream and frozen desserts in general has gone way up. It's much better. What we're making today is better than what we made 10 years ago. And the beauty of that is we can command a higher price. We were stuck. I mean, Rod and I would, if we went into a store, we'd tell the person, yeah, you can charge $2.50 for an ice cream cone, but don't go for $2.75. Nobody will come in. That thinking is out the window. We're getting minimum $3.50, $4, $5 for a scoop of really fantastic ice cream. And at those prices, we can afford to do really fantastic ingredients. So don't be afraid of the price. You build a great product, and people will come to you. Now, the millennials, for whatever reason, are not eating as much dairy as we do. I have said in past times that the only place that is going to, I'm talking about dairy-free ice cream, coconut-based ice cream. The only people who are going to open up an all dairy-free store is going to be in San Francisco because everybody knows they're wacko out there and that kind of thing. Yeah, and then a week later I opened one in Waukesha, Wisconsin, so all dairy-free. I personally would like to be in the frozen dessert business. I don't want to single myself down to one specific thing. So I want to have dairy ice cream. I want to have dairy-free. I want to have Italian ices or sorbet, gelato if I have to. I think it's a waste of time. But a little bit of variety within the store. What fits my market? So we've got this product that we're calling, they used to be called vegan. Vegan's a horrible term. It sounds like an old man who weighs next to nothing and you just want to buy him a good meal. So we dropped the vegan part, though it is a vegan product, and we sell it as dairy-free ice cream. That, of course, is an FDA illegal term because it's not dairy fat. But the truth is, unless you're McDonald's and advertising dairy-free ice cream, they're not going to come to your individual little store in a couple of black Chevy Suburbans and haul you off to Yemen, black site in Yemen. They're just going to leave you alone, and if you have to, you just call it dairy-free frozen dessert.
Well, they're not going to at this point because they haven't made a determination of what the actual product is.
Right.
It's not ice cream. I suggest you find another name for it. Just non-dairy frozen dessert. That's what it is.
You can do that, or you can go with ice cream because it's only your local town that's looking at it. But Rod is right.
Eventually, the FDA is going to...
He's correct legally.
They're going to standardize it, and they'll call it whatever they call it.
And we'll all be old and retired. Not me, you guys. I'll still be working. It'll be years before they get there. So that's splitting hairs. The point is, you've got a product that I can make any flavor of ice cream I want to, and I can make it in a coconut-based product. And the stuff is great. It's delicious. It's refreshing. I'm told by my incredibly older sister that as you get older, you can't digest dairy fats as easily. You can't sit down and eat a Ruth Chris every single night. Your gut won't take it. It takes 72 hours to cycle through you, and it's just a mess when you get older. But this dairy-free, your doctors love it. It's refreshing. It's as refreshing as Italian ice because basically instead of water, it's coconut water. So it's in the same field. It's extremely refreshing. I can get $6 for a scoop. I can sell pints for $9, $10, and the millennial age group is just buying it up. I've thought about this comment for a long time. We all grew up on Ray Kroc's theory of business. He was the head of McDonald's, if you don't know. He invented McDonald's. And Ray Kroc said the key to success is location, location, location. I think Jeff will tell you that that's so far from the truth, it's unbelievable. It's not that way anymore because now the millennials, they hear, oh, okay, I hear in Brooksville that there's a store selling dairy-free frozen desserts. Oh, text it to me. So they text me the address, and I say, oh, that's great, I'm going there. And I text it to 10 of my friends who text it to 10 of their friends. Within an hour, there's 200 people, without me doing any advertising, that know that there is dairy-free available in Brooksville, and they're all going to flock to it. I don't care if I'm on a side street, they're going to find me. So the location of being on the best street in the richest town doesn't apply anymore. If you've got a great product, we were just talking at the beginning of this. There's a great dairy over in Boynton Beach that services a large part of Florida, and the owner and I and his wife and my wife keep meeting up by accident at this little hole-in-the-wall restaurant called Culinary Cafe. Please forget the name. I don't want it crowded. We just happen to have shown up there twice. He's driving all the way up from Boynton Beach, maybe 40 minutes. We're just 4 miles. And it's in the middle. It's in a nowhere location. But the food is so good, we seek it out. And this is what's happening in the frozen dessert business. People will seek out your location. You do a whole segment in your class about this, that you don't need to be on Rodeo Drive in Beverly Hills in order to make it successful. You just need to make a great product and then use the heck out of social media to advertise it, and you'll be a tremendous success.
So
Incredible success.
if I can interject. So I'm not older than dirt, but I've been around for quite a while. I've seen trends in the industry. I've seen things come and go. This vegan or non-dairy ice cream or coconut-based ice cream, I feel it's here to stay, but it's only going to be a percentage of your overall sales. It's going to be a smaller percentage, just like ices are going to be a smaller percentage. The one product that's always stayed throughout history is gourmet homemade ice cream. So if you build your ice,
Yes.
look, he and I agreed on something.
Yes.
And I agree.
So if you
I
build
agree.
your business and create the best homemade gourmet ice cream, 10%, 12%, whatever it is, you're going to be successful. And then you build the other items around it, because grandma's not going to come in and have chocolate mousse ice cream, but she may have a non-dairy product. So you're not going to have 5 non-dairy products, you're going to have 2 maybe. You may have 4 Italian ice products.
But Jeff, you mentioned earlier not to mix Italian ice and ice cream in one shot, is that right?
Can't do it.
Why is that?
Well,
Yeah, why is that?
I'll tell you.
We don't
why.
agree.
We don't agree.
We don't agree.
Well, okay. When a customer comes in and tastes your ice cream and then tries your ices, it's water. There's no body, and it's certainly not worth the cost. You can't charge the same for ice cream as you do for ices. So now automatically you're segregating your market into a $5 sale or a $3 sale or $2.50 sale. And when you taste one product, the other product just doesn't compare. Even if you're pushing it to cream ice, there's no comparison. Ice cream is the gold standard. It is it. And 3/4 of the world has no idea what Italian ices are. And if they see it in print, they'll say, Italian ices? What are they, spicy?
But wouldn't that make you stand out against the 3 ice
It
cream
requires
shops?
education.
Okay, Jeff is not wrong for his business. He is an ice cream parlor. He's catering to an older crowd. They are 4 square baby boomers looking for high fat, or looking for a very rich ice cream. Every business is different. I cannot see Ruth Chris Steakhouses only offering a filet mignon. You know, it's nice. They've got to offer other things. I mean, my wife doesn't eat steak. She's got to order fish or pasta. If you don't have those on the menu, we're not going to Ruth Chris.
But those are different products.
And this is a different product. Italian ice is different. If it's how much have we talked about? If it's 100 degrees out, dairy products are going to make you sweat and feel uncomfortable. Now, no matter what the fat content is, you got to give some variety. It doesn't mean anymore. We used to do, sundaes through the wazoo and banana splits. I wouldn't consider doing those. They're too labor intensive and they cost too much. But you give variety to the people, a limited variety. I agree with Rod. He said 2 flavors. I've only had one person, and I've been promoting dairy-free when nobody ever even heard of it. I've been talking about this for 3.5 years now. And the only person who ever called up and complained was a guy who called up and he said, boy, that's the last time I ever listened to you about the dairy-free. I go, why? It didn't sell? Oh, no, they stormed the building. I should have put in 4 flavors instead of 2. And I said, well, good for you. But I'm with Rod. I'd have 2 flavors, and I would rotate out, or maybe I'd have 4. I wouldn't go above 4. And I would rotate out the flavors. You need reason to get on social media. Even us old goats can learn new stuff. And social media is unbelievable. We used to put it a different way. Rod was out there like me, driving around his area, selling his products.
Working for Daddy.
Working for Daddy. And you go in and you sell the Bavarian base to someone and they think you're great. You're a hero, you're wonderful. Now what do? How do I get back into selling something else 2 weeks from now? I need to come up with a different product. So I come up with a different product and I'm back. You already like me. You already buy from me. So now as a salesman, I can sell you another product. You've got 2 flavors of dairy-free. They love it. Let's say it's vanilla and coffee. Why not change it out? Why not change out the vanilla for mint chip? or for avocado. I'm going to change things up a little bit after lunch. We're going to make a lavender ice cream. I've never had lavender ice cream, but I'm the one in the group who experiments, and I make some of the worst ice cream in the world.
The reality is, you are very rarely going to find a store that only serves one type of frozen dessert. You have to have products that's going to draw the masses. One product is not going to draw everybody. Grandma may not come in. That means the whole family's not going to come in because she's not eating ice cream.
But don't get me wrong, Jeff's
The
not
kids
wrong
won't
for
come
his...
in because they want blue raspberry.
He's not wrong for his market.
Jeff's not wrong.
But
in his
for
market.
many markets, most markets, he is. Yes.
Jeff, when you first started, okay, how many total flavors did you have when you opened up first?
6. Well, 1 when I...
Well, I know that, but I mean, basically, when you got started, you had...
Well, I
6 or less.
had 1 flavor for the first week, 10 days.
Okay.
Then I went to 6.
Okay. So, and how long did you stay with 6?
Till I got the bigger machine.
Okay. So, I mean, basically,
almost a year.
Don't start out with 32 flavors. Start out with 6.
Oh, those days are gone. I don't go above 15 flavors because all you end up with is a bunch. You end up with a bunch of old ladies. Excuse me, old ladies. You end up with a bunch of old ladies going, "I can't decide which flavor I want."
I agree, Steve. Absolutely. And I had a snow cone stand for 15 years, and I mean, I was notoriously busy. I was international. I had one in Cozumel for 5. And I had a limited flavors. Now, 2 blocks down the street was another one that had been there 25 years before I started, and we blew them away. And they had 100 flavors, and I had maybe 20. Okay?
Yeah, but you had pickle.
That's right. And again, maybe with the ice, not the ice cream, but the ice, that may not work. I don't know. But I'm just telling you, I didn't do that because I wanted it. I did that because it was asked for. But nonetheless, I still had these basic 20 flavors because everything else was just more work. So y'all might take that when you start out. Don't try to have 100 flavors. Just start out with because he's definitely successful.
And I'm not opposed to different products. Just if I were in her shoes, last rephrase. Her thinking, you want Italian ices, right?
Yes.
Then open up an Italian ice store and be great at it. You can't serve all masters. You can't have sugar-free, dairy-free. I mean, he says you can.
You can't have sugar-free.
You can't have sugar-free. You can't have dairy-free. You can't have lactose-intolerant people. You can't have diabetics, pre-diabetics. You can't serve all these people. You can't have ice cream, Italian ices, cream ice, gelato. Why? You're only going to... First, you need dedicated freezers and facilities for all different products. And then...
Not if you use stabilizer.
And then... all right, I know. And then...
It's all going to depend on your individual market. You might put in dairy-free and nobody walks through the door, so guess what? You take out dairy-free. We have a question towards the front here we're going to take.
I have a few questions. I've been writing them down since everyone wants to talk about pickles.
Okay. By the way, on the pickles, I'm never going to make fun of that again. With your sales, I can't believe it.
So you are pitching a product, but you never actually pitched it. Where can I get it? How much does it cost? You're talking about the dairy-free.
I use, it's spelled M-A-M-I-S, which she pronounces mommies. It's Italian for mother. M-A-M-I-S, gelato, Gelato.com. It also goes under the name of Froconut, Froconut.com. Froconut.com. Now, just to prove I'm an equal opportunity insulter, Naomi Posner makes this coconut-based product. It's fabulous. I absolutely love it. I spent a year and a half formulating my own, and they always came out icy. This product is great right out of the bag. Everything in here is vegan. The ingredients are vegan, cane sugar, non-GMO coconut, glucose, modified food starch. That's a preservative. Salt is a preservative. Cellulose gum, xanthan gum, tapioca, and that's it. No allergens, no nothing in here. She also makes other people make products out of almond and out of cashew. And I personally don't like either one. I don't like the taste of them, but I'm not a big coconut fan, but I am of this product. Now, I said I can, and I have videos, tons of videos about dairy-free at my website with the formulas. It's really pretty simple. 1 pound of powder to 1 quart of water. You can't get any easier than that. A pound of powder to a quart of water. I can make any flavor on earth in ice cream. I can do it in dairy-free with one exception, that's vanilla. And for some reason, the coconut and the vanilla are fighting for world dominance, and neither one wins. So I just don't make vanilla, but I make a killer coffee dairy-free. I make an unbelievable mint chip coffee-free. I can make strawberry coffee-free, dairy-free. It's great stuff for your market, if that's your market. We'll find out. You'll find out within a few days of opening.
I still have more questions.
Okay.
Good. I have 3 more questions, I promise.
Oh, I don't know about that.
Is that similar to a Dole Whip?
I don't even know what's in Dole Whip. That stuff just looks horrible to me. I wouldn't touch Dole Whip.
All right. 3rd question. That's for you. What is the difference between an ice base and a flavor? Because you market both, and some are different flavors.
So iRice Italian ice bases are made with fruit juice, fruit puree, fruits. Could be dairy solids. We make a salty caramel, for example, or cocoa solids. So a flavor is just the flavor system.
Yeah.
So we'll take.
Yeah.
One of my employees.
You would. So there's different formulations. So we'll take maybe, let's say, an orange emulsion flavor, and add that to our orange cream base. Okay, so we make emulsions, but we'll take the finished product and add that to get the flavor system along with orange juice. So you get a better quality product using an ice base as opposed to just adding a flavor.
He has an orange fetish, and the reason is, if you remember, his last name is Oringer. Now you'll never forget it. You have one more question.
I do. Does an Italian ice...
No, that was a statement. You have one more question.
Okay, got it. Does water make a difference? Meaning, there's like with pizza.
I'll take that one. I love that one.
With tap water, Zephyr Hills water, Nestle water.
I love that question. Water does make a difference if you're here in Florida, because the worst water on planet Earth is in Florida. It's all filtered through coral, and it's got a mineral content that it's like drinking liquid stone. Now, let's say I open up an Italian ice business here in Brooksville, Florida. There are no tourists. You're the only people from outside of our neighborhood that have come to Brooksville, and I guarantee you'll never come back again because it's just not on the beaten path. We're not a tourist attraction except for Jeff and me. So you're not going to come back. I'm opening up in Brooksville. These people grew up on the water. They don't know it's bad because they've been drinking it since birth, and it's wonderful. So I don't need to filter my water if I'm in Brooksville, Florida. I go down to Miami, and Miami is just wall-to-wall us obnoxious New Yorkers, where we have the greatest water on earth in New York. The filtration system starts up in the Kensico Dam, about 25 miles of New York, and there's this big, heavy screen that catches the bodies and other debris as the water comes south. And from there, it ends up in your tap, and it's absolutely delicious. So if I'm in Miami, I've got to filter the water to get all that mineral out. And you can do it in the blood and the guts and everything else. You can do it with a water softener system, a Culligan water softener system. I've known pizza parlors because, yes, it's true. We're all convinced you can't make pizza or bagels without New York water. I mean, if you're in Chicago, forget about it. They don't know what they're doing. No offense to anybody from Chicago, but it's the truth. I'm sorry.
We got the best water in Chicago.
Oh, you got the best food. I'll tell you that. You got better food than New York. So you don't need to filter the water depending on your market. And probably something pretty simple. You're not going to need a big reverse osmosis system, to give water to the space station on the moon. Yes?
Is there any concern with calcium buildup if you're using hard water?
No, because on the water-cooled machines, the valves that we use, which are everything's made in the USA, they just don't clog. I don't see you have to go 30 or 40 years before we even think about replacing a valve. If you did have the 1 in 10,000 valve that went bad, the good news is it would just stay open. So you'd still be able to make ice cream. You'd just have to shut the faucet off at the end of the day until you get the valve replaced. But no, it's not like your dishwasher. Your dishwasher is using a very, very small, almost like a capillary line to feed it water, and they can clog after 5 years here in Florida. But on these big machines, no. Yes?
We're looking into doing some infused with liquor. Is there any cautions we should take with that?
Don't eat it all day long. Jeff's the man. He knows to do that after lunch.
Ice cream.
You're not talking?
Yes, you want to know if you need a liquor license.
Well, we know we have to have a liquor license in Chicago, but the question I had, is there any cautions we should know about other than...
As far as making it?
Somebody, huh?
As far as making it?
Yeah.
No.
No?
No, the machine will get colder, and the door will freeze the outside. You'll see it when we do it. The outside of the door will get a nice cake of ice on it, but you can't hurt the machine.
These are the only machines that you can pour alcohol into and still have it freeze.
And let it run for 10 minutes.
Yeah, it will never freeze. I mean, the freezing point of alcohol is somewhere around minus 279 or 249. It will only be in suspension. But our machines have enough power to do it. Other machines on the market, you have to add the alcohol as it's coming out, and that ruins the ice cream. The other thing is whatever cabinet you're serving it in, depending on the alcohol content, you might want to put it in one of the corners of the box because they get more refrigeration. Instead of just the front of the box, it's now going around a corner. And I do that with my other ice creams. If I was using a dipping cabinet, if I had a store, I would put my high sugar contents in the four corners, and I'd put my vanilla and coffee in the center. Because even though the box says 6
You can all
degrees,
tell him you already know that because someone already told you that.
Okay, then I'm repeating himself.
And do you actually need a liquor license? Because I was under the impression, at least in the state of Florida, since it's an edible, not a drinkable, it's not.
Oh, you
considered
gotta have a
beverage.
liquor license. I've run that one.
No, you don't.
If it's above 5%.
Now, can I tell an urban
Otherwise,
legend
it's
story about
terrible.
you?
Go ahead.
I heard an urban legend story about Jeff, and if it's not true, don't tell me because you'll break my heart. That the liquor authority came in and discussed this liquor license business, and they looked at his business and they studied his business and said, well, okay, you make bourbon vanilla ice cream, you put bourbon in your vanilla, and you serve it in a dish and you hand it to people, and we don't have a problem with that. But if you take that bourbon vanilla ice cream and put it into a Ninja blender and put in other ingredients and turn it into a milkshake, that's a mixed drink and we're not going to let you do it.
Yeah, it's a difference between
Now, that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my life, but I'll take it. Urban legend?
Actually, we had this in class, right, this week. And who did the research on it? He did, right? And he's gone. You did.
Yeah, well, I wrote off to the Texas.
Right. He wrote, he's in Texas, and he wrote the Texas Liquor Board, Bureau of Alcohol and Tobacco.
TABC, Texas Alcoholic Beverage Commission.
I didn't notice his hand up, your ass moving his lips. I thought I was right, it was
Correct.
right. And you asked them if you need a liquor license. Now, they came back with a 2-paragraph, and that's important that there were 2 paragraphs.
Just read it so you...
Okay, 2 paragraphs. And after he read it, he said, damn, I need a liquor license. And then I read it, and I pointed out that you don't. So what's the question? And by the way, he opened up a can of worms like you can't believe, but anyway, his picture's now in every office in Texas.
I didn't send it from like my
Right.
regular email.
Go ahead.
So basically, I asked the question. Well, my question was, I'm trying to find out how TABC would interpret using alcohol as an ingredient in making foods, specifically in the manufacturing of the sale of ice cream. If the end result following is ice cream following a recipe where liquor is one of the ingredients and put into a commercial batch ice cream machine with the gallon of ice cream I made to serve to the public.
And here's their answer.
Okay. The answer to that was, in certain cases, alcohol-infused food.
Bro, slow down. You got all these people want to hear the answer to this.
In certain cases, alcohol-infused foods are considered beverages for the purpose of regulation. Alcohol-infused ice cream falls into this category since it could conceivably be melted and consumed as a beverage. In other cases, such as when alcohol is used in the manufacturing of pastries or other foods, the resulting product is not considered a beverage and would not fall under TABC regulation.
Right, so in a sense, they're saying what Steve said. If you make a milkshake, you can't do it. But if you serve it as ice cream, you can, which is total BS. I mean, it doesn't make any sense. It's the same, you're downing the same thing.
But we'll take it.
But we'll take it. So, yes, sir.
Yeah, but, you know, in Chicago, they call that an incidental liquor license. So incidentally, the guy that's making it as a shake can't use it, but the guy that's making it as ice cream can. So there's a difference between the two, and now they allow that in Chicago.
Yeah. You know, common sense doesn't really float in the office there of these people. But if you think about it, as long as it's an ingredient in your final product, now you can't pour. You can't pour it on top of your ice cream.
Right.
You're not even supposed to have pourable bottles. You know, who knows what a pourable bottle is? I guess those spouts on top, because it's an ingredient. On your shelf, it's just like having a bottle of Tyranny or some chocolate syrup or whatever, and as long as you're restricted to use like that, you're fine. And this difference between hard ice cream in a bowl and a milkshake in a glass is totally ridiculous. It flies in the face of sanity.
That's TABC, though.
We're going to break for lunch. Just a couple of quick parting comments about health departments. One is in New York, our attitude is it's better to beg for forgiveness than ask for permission.
Everywhere.
It may be 10 years before they find out that you're putting liquor in the ice cream.
Absolutely.
And the other is what you just did with that phone, and your picture is now up in every place on earth.
Right.
What you want to do is, let's say San Diego. If you're in San Diego and you want to open an ice cream parlor, don't ask your local health department guy the question, because you're going to be locked into it.
Right.
Call up to Fresno or wherever Seattle, whatever their headquarters is, I don't know, and ask them.
Disguise your voice.
You don't have to disguise it. Just call, 1,000 miles away, 500 miles away, in another part of the state. Ask the same question. Interrogate them. Do all the things to not, get them angry at you that you might want to do. And then you could go back to your guy before you even ask the question and say, well, I talked to Fresno and they said at headquarters, where your paycheck comes from, and they, say that. And this is what they recommend. Now, we're going to have lunch. Before you do, if you'd come up, I want you to try some of this dairy-free. I made pumpkin at Christmas. Even if you don't like pumpkin, you'll be surprised by the flavor. It's just got cans of pumpkin pie in it and a little sugar. And I want you to just see what the dairy-free is like if it isn't interesting to you.
Your turn.
All right, so what we'll do now is we'll make, it's innovative, it's new, it's the first time. We'll make an alcohol-infused ice cream. Is there anybody that can't, besides Ben here, anybody that can't have it?
He's very intelligent.
Okay, then don't have it.
We were talking about intelligent and you walked in.
Yeah.
All right, we'll add a bladder. Who wants to handle this? You're not on your life.
You need to teach Steve. Did you see Steve trying to handle that?
Yeah. All right, so we'll put the 10 quarts right in. And now, of course, when we add sugar to a formula or a recipe, Steve likes to blend the sugar prior to putting it in the machine. And I always said to him, as I told you before, the best mixer is right here. So don't bother.
Sugar weighs out the blades.
What?
Yeah. Sugar wears the blades very badly.
Well, let me see. In 10 years, have I replaced the blades? Let me see. How many times? Oh, none. Okay. So now we want to put sugar in because this recipe calls for sugar. Don't write this down.
Sounds like you're talking to God.
Right.
I got it.
So we'll start it up, and then we'll add some sugar.
The reason we're not writing it down is because there is no recipe.
No, you can't leave with this recipe.
Oh, okay.
It'll make you too much money.
Ah, I see.
So whatever you do, don't write it down.
Whatever you do, don't write it down. Now there's two different kinds of flavorings that I use. Today I got Tyranny because that's what I brought with me, but also I like the Hartleys. These are pretty good too. And they're just, Snow Cone Man knows about them, they're just simple syrups that you can use to flavor your ice creams. Here's where I get in trouble. No corn syrup.
No corn syrup?
No. Yeah, good is right. Okay, so let's get the sugar in there. And we're going to add a couple of bottles of cherry. Ben, can you have this? No? No, the ice cream. Of course he can taste it, right? Of course he can. Hi, Steve.
Is there any alcohol
contributing to the delinquency of a minor?
No.
Okay. And majors, too.
Add a little more of this. I'm not turning around. Is Steve watching?
Yeah, I am watching. It's like watching your grandmother bake. You know, you'll never get the recipe because it's a little of this and a little of that and a smidgen of this.
We'll add a little more of this. Are you writing this down?
He is.
He is? Okay.
What?
Okay, a little more of that.
It's so quiet in here, we should have started with the alcohol first.
And now we'll add a little amaretto.
Now that's alcohol.
That's alcohol, but it's a liqueur, so don't worry too much about it. It's not like adding
French alcohol.
We'll add a little more sugar. Whoa. Because I tend to like the ice cream sweet and very flavorful. We'll add a little amaretto.
One of the businesses we put into business was Ben & Jerry's, and there is urban legend, you've probably heard it, and if you put Haagen-Dazs, who we put into business, and Ben & Jerry's side by side, the Ben & Jerry's will always be sweeter. And the urban legend is because Jerry of Ben & Jerry burned out his taste buds doing acid in college. Now, I can't say if that's true, but it makes for an interesting story, and it would make sense, because if you can't taste sweet, you're just going to add more. Now, I'm not saying Jeff burned out his taste buds on acid in college. It's just a similarity. As Jeff always says, if you remember the 60s, you really weren't there.
Yeah, there is.
There sure is. Except for that, I always have the police record to remind me.
Okay, so I guess we're going to be okay here.
How about the refrigeration?
Not yet. Not yet. We got all that sugar to blend.
Oh, that's okay. You forgot to turn it on.
No, not yet. Not yet. Let it mix. I like to let things mix a little. You know, really blend. I like that blend.
Yeah, okay.
Probably add a little more sugar. That's a pound bag. What, did you just get off the boat? That ain't a pound bag.
Did you see what I bought for you, Jeff? I bought a bag of Domino.
I saw that.
To my 15 bags of
What did I
Publix.
grab?
Yeah, of course. Well, it was for you. We even fight about the brand of sugar. Can you believe that? Sugar is sugar. Don't get them started.
No, it isn't.
No, it's not. There's different. I don't even know what that is.
So that's a pulverized sugar powder. So it starts from cane crystal.
That's all you need. That's all you need.
This. Powdered sugar is
not what you need.
This
is like a rock. That means it's what? It's clumped together. It's like a rock.
Yeah, it doesn't have the chemicals in it to
This
make
doesn't
it.
have any chemicals.
Sure, it's what that's
pure, premium, pure cane granulated sugar. They can't even put that on here.
Rod, is there a chemical in there to keep it from clotting?
They're the same. They're probably made by the same. Domino probably packs that product.
All right, goodbye.
Pick the wrong side.
I was telling you, it's like.
Except mine costs less.
So here's what you do. You listen to Jeff, you listen to Steve, you want the truth, you come to me.
Or somewhere in between.
I won't go there, you see?
You want to turn on the refrigeration
No,
yet?
not yet. Not yet.
It doesn't need that much blending.
I understand.
Wants to learn the
No, he's just torturing me.
Okay,
I'll
so,
take care of it.
as you know, a lot of people here took my class. I do run a class, which is always 2 days prior to this day here. And it's 2 full days. It brings them from the bottom to the top. We now have the best ice cream and ices makers in the world in this room, right? You would say that. And they're thoroughly versed in the machines, in using bladders, in creating their own recipes. They can make a recipe. What did we make yesterday on the counter? Banana, peanut butter, banana, Elvis, Fat Elvis. We made a Fat Elvis yesterday. And that's what you can do with ices. And who knows what cream ices are? What are cream ices?
Nice with a little bit of cream in it.
Right. It's actually sherbet. Right. It's actually sherbet. But you couldn't open a store selling sherbet. Nobody will pay for it.
Too antiquated in the name.
But the name, hang on, Rod, hang on. The name, I did that pretty good. The name, a very good friend of mine opened up an incredibly successful cream ice store down in Fort Lauderdale. And he called it Cecily's Gourmet Italian Ices. You know, that's a stretch calling it Gourmet Italian Ices, but lines every night. His store is maybe 800 square feet. Lines every night. 150 flavors of cream ice. 150 flavors of cream ice. Sells nothing else. Nothing else. He's got 3 little tables. You can seat maybe 9 people in there. And all night long, you know what he does? All day and all night? Dixie cups. 2 sizes. And here's what he does all day. Pop, pop, spoon, register. Pop, 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 spoon, register. That's it. Dixie cup. No covers for them. No pretzels in them. No toppings. No chips. No fudge. No banana splits. No milkshakes. Nothing. And every day, line out the door. Pop, pop, boom, $4.50. Pop, pop, boom, $6. Pop, pop, boom, $6. That's it. Cream ice.
Flavors like your ice cream.
Flavors like you couldn't imagine, because he understands we're not going to be dinosaurs anymore. Dinosaurs, lemon cherry chocolate. No more.
But with something like that, he's making ice cream all the time, though, I assume. And it's just.
He has 2 44-quart Emery Thompsons in the back. And you know who makes the ice cream, the cream ices? Kids. He doesn't even oversee it anymore. He used to, but he doesn't anymore. But you talk about forward thinking, 150 flavors of cream ice. And I don't think he has the electronic board up there. And
His machines are older.
What?
His machines are older.
What do you mean?
He doesn't have the electronic.
No, for his menu.
Oh, sorry.
The digital menu board up there. And now my whole train of thought, out, gone. I was running, and then I dropped the ball.
He's forward, he's got the digital board.
Right. Anyway, this is where we should be going. I think the days of vanilla and chocolate in ice cream and pistachio are gone. You know, butter pecan is great for the older, small segment of the market, but you got to be forward-thinking in flavors and colors, not artificial colors, just flavors and colors of ice cream and inclusions. What? Go ahead.
So it's Italian ice with a little bit of the bladder?
Italian ice, yes, yes, yes. The formula for cream ice is 3-2-1, and that's 3 quarts of water, 2 pounds of sugar, 1 quart of mix. That's a universal cream ice sherbet formula. So if you take a machine, 3 quarts of water, 2 pounds of sugar, and 1 quart of mix, then the sky's the limit. You've got that, the sky's the limit after that. Anything you can conceive, throw it in the machine, and you'll have, as a matter of fact, I brought, where are they? I brought some brownies and some chocolate fudge cupcakes. Screw it, my next thing, let's make a cream ice, all right? And we're gonna go 3-2-1 and throw all that crap in the machine. And it's gonna be unbelievable. And some say, better than ice cream. I bought a house recently in Daytona Beach, and I'm this far away from opening up a store, cream ice, nothing else. Cream ice.
What's the downside of having that many flavors, besides the machines running all the time?
Well, you ask Evan, he probably won't have time to answer you because he's on the way to the bank. You know, if you have 150 flavors and 7 customers, you're doing something wrong. But if you have 150 customers and you never have to throw anything out, you're doing something really right.
But I assume you didn't start with 150, you started
No,
with 15.
of course not. Of course not. I started with 1, then I went to 6. Now we have 40. And they all the 40 sell. But you know what you'll find? You'll find it's fun making up flavors. And like this cherry amaretto we're making, that was in the middle of the night. And you'll taste it, you'll see what you think. I think it's pretty good. So that's the fun part. If you let it get away, you'll have 300 flavors because you're gonna, ooh, how about this? Ooh, what about this? Suppose I add this to this. That's the fun part. There's 3 elements to this business, to why we go into this business. Why do we go into this business? You know why we go into this business. Profit. The profit is unlike anything else in the world. We went over all the numbers, and the profit is silly. We go into it for profit, we go into it for art. This is artistic. It's not selling ladies' shoes. We go into this because we want to have fun making art. We're Picassos of ice cream and ices. And the third thing is very important to me. We go into it for profit, we go into art, but really I go into it for fun. This business is fun. When people are sitting around eating your ice cream and you walk around, it's like you're a celebrity. And they like, ooh, he's coming to our table. That's what it's like. Because you're now the king of ice cream, or ices, or cream ices. But it'll work if you go into it for profit, art, and fun. That's why we're doing this. But number one is that profit. It's stupid profit in this stuff.
We're going to speed things up a little bit because we're running out of time. I'm going to experiment with a flavor I've never made before, lavender ice cream. Never done it. We'll see what it's like. So the first thing I'm going to start with is 4 quarts of mix. Need a bigger container.
Hey, use a big one.
And so while Jeff's is freezing, I'll get mine started freezing.
Now, I didn't know this was a 12-quart machine because the footprint is the same on a 12,
maybe you can take it outside and write it down
and a
because
24.
we're teaching.
What? What happened?
I was just telling them that we were teaching and that they could just move it.
I don't say anything important anyway. The footprint on the machine is the same. It looks the same, whether it's a 12, a 20, or a 24. And last time, when we were here in October, he said, hey, great news. I've given you a 24. So great, now I have a 24 to work with. So I presumed I'm still working on a 24, and lo and behold, it's a 12.
Yeah, well, we sent the 24 up to your store.
Right. The 24 was a prototype of a new machine, so he wanted me to experiment with it and test it and kick the tires on it at my store. But I didn't know that was that. So everything we've made has been bogus. Just forget everything you saw today.
Well, it's not all bogus.
It's square.
And don't even taste it. Remember you tasted forget you tasted it. It was terrible anyway. What did we make?
That good messed up. It's going to be even better.
Tell me about it. You can't mess up. That's what we teach in the class. As a matter of fact, the cream ice recipe, 3-2-1, the Italian ice recipe, 6-4, right? 6-4? 6-4. You can't mess up. I mean, which is 6 quarts of water and 4 pounds of sugar. You can't mess up. Even Sammy, look at that face, right? Even Sammy could make great stuff in the class. Yes.
Is that 3-2-1 for the 350?
It's 3-2-1 for the world.
I need you.
What?
For the lavender.
You want to make
Okay, so we're going to start the lavender ice cream. 4 quarts.
Okay.
We're going to start the lavender over here. This is just lavender syrup from France, though I know the Toroni that Jeff uses also makes it. So 2 ingredients, dairy product and lavender.
And we're going to throw chips in.
And chips. I need to get in that freezer.
Okay. You go over there. I'll experiment with this.
You bet.
Like Doritos?
Yes. We love Doritos and ice cream.
How about the top here? What's going on?
You're killing me here.
That was sterilized before I used it. Don't worry.
Or was it still like the night before?
The night before.
Wasn't that a Beatles song the night before?
We said our goodbye
Yeah, they don't know
the
the
night
Beatles,
before.
huh?
No. You know, I asked Ben here, who's 11?
Yeah.
11. Start her up.
Yeah.
Don't freeze it yet. Full speed ahead.
I'm going to do
234.
super premium.
How come? Thicker?
A little thicker.
Okay.
I'm going to lower the air content of this by putting the setting down to super premium. The slower I spin the dasher, the less air it'll put in. This is my invention from, it's 20 years now, and it's exclusive to my company. But it allows one machine to make everything from hard ice cream to gelato to Italian ice to dairy-free. Oh, you want to taste it first? I'm going to put them in right now.
Pour them in.
How much do you want me to pour in? Want me to weigh it? I know.
What you think?
He'll throw the whole thing in. It's too much.
Come on, open up.
Save me some.
Okay.
Save me some.
Okay.
I eat them late at night.
Okay.
And look, I'm turning on the refrigeration switch. I don't waste time because I know in the first 2 minutes nothing's going to happen. It's going to get colder, but it's not doing that much freezing.
Okay.
So that all that so-called mixing is happening while I'm working.
Okay. There you go.
I'm all about how fast can I get back to my office and sit on my glass.
And the great thing about having your own place is you watch the 11 o'clock news, 11:30, you're not tired, go make some ice cream. Really, I mean, I do it all the time. It's fun. And you never know what you come up with.
No, it is fun.
All right, I think we're lavender ice cream. One of the first classes I ever taught, years and years ago, a guy went to Tampa to open up a store. Anybody from the Tampa area? He opened up the Revolution. Okay. He's been on the Today Show. He's been in the national magazines. And when he left my class, he said, I'm gonna make rose petal ice cream and maple beer nut ice cream. And I said, okay, you know, but I think you should have the basic flavors. He said, nah, screw that. And he went, and he's been on national guy now, and he's way ahead of us. We're making lavender ice cream. We never made it before. He's been doing it for 5 years, 6, 7 years.
Now he's on CBD.
Yeah, CBD. Rose petal ice cream, bacon ice cream, beer ice cream. He's way out there. And that's where you got to go. Go there. Don't be afraid. So, my hat's off to him. He's a forward thinker. You heard of him, right?
Yeah, he's in Brandon. Well, he just moved to Tampa.
Yeah.
And now he has a warehouse.
If you could have heard him 5 years ago, he'd turn to me and go, "You're going to make what? With what?"
Correct.
Avocados? Are you kidding? Or what was the other one? There was another purple. There was a purple one that Paula liked. Ube.
Ube. Yeah.
Ube. Everybody ever heard of ube? No. Me neither. It's a yam. That's right. And it's big in Indonesia, and it's purple. It's beautiful, and it makes a interesting ice cream. Not one that I would make a second time. But if you're in Indonesia and that part of the world, you would sell ube ice cream the way we sell mint chip. So different tastes for different regions. And
the last class
groups.
I taught, a guy from Iran or Iraq, I don't know. And he said, huh?
They don't know either.
No. And he said, I said, tell me some of the flavors that you're going to go back to your country and try to make. And the one thing his eyes lit up and he said, we have to make saffron. Saffron. So now I'm going to try saffron ice cream. It's very expensive, you know, but apparently you don't need a whole lot. But saffron ice cream, I want to try that.
You're going to need a second mortgage on that beach house. That's expensive stuff.
Yeah, but he knows what he's doing.
I wonder how much you need.
Well, that's what we're going to find out. Maybe February we'll do that. I'll get saffron and we'll figure it out.
Okay. I can get you a discount. It's called safflower, but it sounds like saffron.
All right, what are we making here?
Liquor ice cream.
Cherry amaretto, okay. Cherry amaretto.
Do we have to take more mix out? Or is the alcohol content such that it's never going to freeze?
Oh, no, that's fine.
Oh, it is?
Yeah, and then the cream ice, that's enough.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, that's good.
Is it?
Can you taste a little?
No.
Like a...
No. Not one drop alcohol.
Because if you have one drop, you'll be on the floor in your office with the bottle.
I didn't say that. No, we have 40 orders ahead of you, but we have inventory on everything. So it depends on the time of year. If you're ordering a machine right now, one of these larger ones, it's going to be 4 weeks. If you're ordering this, about 3 weeks. You get into February or March, we could get up to 6 weeks. But I have assurances from my staff that we will not go beyond 1 day over 6 weeks. So do some pre-planning. My attitude is you've got a set date to get your store open. And you got a lot of variables. You got the tile man who, when you want your tile floor put down, he's in Tahiti for a month on vacation. And you can't move anything in because the tile man's not there. I would rather have your machine ordered and built and paid for and sitting here, and then you call me up and say, we're going to be 3 weeks late. At least I've got it. I don't ever want to have a phone call where you say, you promised the machine on Wednesday, this is Monday, and where is it? Oh, I'm sorry, I'm going to be 2 more weeks. So I'd rather you delay me than I delay you. So order as early as you can. And
okay, that's enough. You see the ice build up here?
You had a question. Go ahead.
See the ice buildup? That's in fact due to the alcohol. The machine is working like hell to try to get that alcohol frozen. And as we know, you can't freeze alcohol. But what you can do, hang on. What you can do is suspend alcohol. Everything is made up of molecules. And picture those as little balls, little tiny balls. Everything is made up of molecules, everything. So when you have the cream that you put in the machine, it's all these little balls. They're molecules of cream. Now you add the alcohol. They won't mix, but the cream, the molecules of cream will surround each molecule of alcohol and in effect suspend it within a bubble of cream. And the cream will freeze, so the alcohol molecules in there will get cold enough to make a solid product. And that's the chemistry lesson for today.
Ship overseas.
We're in 172 countries.
In an Italian machine, they want to charge him $22,000, where you offer a similar machine for $6,000. And I'm like, in Denmark. And I'm like, it's ridiculous.
We're extremely popular, especially in developing nations. You pick a place like Sri Lanka, they don't need $1 million continuous freezer set up. They only need a plant the size about this with 2 machines. We've been in a lot of countries forever. We're in 172 countries. I just added back in India. We took them out for a lot of years, about 3 years, but I put them back in. The problem in India was it's broken up into about 180 different states, and every state had its own health rules and regulations, which made it impossible to ever, figure out the requirements. They now have it under their federal control, and so it's easier. But we're in places like you've never heard of. The Himalayan Ice Cream Company at the base in Nepal. That's a nice little ice cream parlor. Oh gosh, they're all over the place. There's over 37,800 Emory Thompsons currently running in the world. And that number just keeps growing. We're now the largest, we have been for about 6 years, the largest manufacturer in the world. We slipped out of #1 during the gelato craze, but that's all it was. I mean, the rest of the world loves gelato. A mother walking in with a 9-year-old daughter, the daughter is not pulling on her dress and saying, "Mommy, could I please have tiramisu or fruit of Tabasco or hazelnut?" No, they want mint chip, Oreo cookie, Cookie Monster, Superman. You sell to the public what they want. You can't ram a product down their throat if they don't want it. They just won't come back. And gelato did not fit the U.S. market.
Okay, time to have cherry amaretto ice cream.
I've got a question for you. I'm using these 3-gallon tubs for my dipping cart, okay? So, this is only going to do 1.5 gallons at a time. I'm going to do my Italian.
Well, it looks pale pink.
Mix my 3 gallons.
What do I call it?
What do you call it? You know what I call it? Money. You can call it cherry amaretto, but make an asterisk next to it. It has liquor in it.
The amount of liquor is really here nor there, right? I mean,
It's here nor there. It's personal taste.
Small one, please.
What? Oh, okay. Oh, you are? Okay.
Thanks, buddy.
Okay, so I can put 5 quarts.
All our machines are rated by
Thank you.
the ice cream has air in it.
Don't forget Mike.
it's over the top, boss. It's actually delicious.
What's that?
That's over the top.
It's pretty good, isn't it?
Yep, even though you got your mix wrong, right?
My what?
Even though you got your mix wrong, right?
No, you can't. You can't. I'm telling you. That's why you're going to have 60 flavors in a week, because you can't go wrong.
That's very good.
What? Oh, right. I get it.
It has an air-cooled machine. It's such a big compressor that it's going to take this room and water is expensive. Sewer is expensive, but it's controlled by your local city. It goes up pennies a year, otherwise the guys won't get reelected. Your electric bill is controlled by what happened last night in Iran and Iraq. As soon as there's a disturbance in the world, the price of oil goes up and your electricity goes up and never comes back down. So over the 40-year lifespan of the machine, even 5 or 10 years, an air-cooled machine is going to cost you more to run than a water-cooled.
And the water cooled more expensive anyway.
No, the water-cooled machines are cheaper than air-cooled. The air-cooled machine has more moving parts.
Plus, I mean, the air-cooled machine is more expensive.
Thousand more. Yeah. No, only air-cooled. Yeah, because the compressor's big, it's 2 horsepower, but it's not going to change the temperature in this room.
I don't know if you need this or not, but I have a question. You're dealing with U.S. power, you're dealing with overseas power.
Yeah, we build to the country.
You have a need for a motor generator set to create 50 cycles.
No, we build the machine to the country it's going to.
That's what I said. When you build the machine, I assume you run them and test them.
Yeah, we have a 50 cycle generator.
Okay, that's why I was asking the question. I have a motor generator, which is electric motor generator for that purpose.
Oh, I see. No,
we used to use it in RF testing in my facility. We're not using the facility anymore.
Wow.
And I think it's either 15 or 30.
Yeah, we build. No, thank you very much. Yeah, we build a lot of machines for overseas, and most times they're 50 hertz. And it's also a one-wire connection, so the whole machine is different. A 221 wire, one hot, one ground.
I understand that. I understand why. But that's what I'm asking. Because we also did three-phase. That's what I was asking.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks. Yes. Good. Except nobody wrote down the formula.
You don't need to.
Huh?
It's like a wine.
No, it's a liqueur.
No, it's 12.5%.
Heat up. Our last flavor is coming out in another couple of minutes. Oh yeah, no, I'm wrong. Just making one more.
Only if you want.
No, make your cream ice. We got time. I'm done. See, if this was a game, you win by attrition.
Why?
Rod's gone. My batch will be finished soon. I'll be gone. So it'll be all yours. This whole place is all yours. You can tell them anything you want.
About a year ago, wasn't it?
It was more like 2.5.
Was it?
Yeah.
He's changed.
We're on tape. Hey, Mike, cut the tape.
I know.
Thank you. Flag it.
So how was that? That was pretty good, wasn't it? I think it was really good. I think I've had about enough for you. Well, we were 3/4 of a bottle short.
Yeah, you put more in.
Oh man!
What?
Wow! Hey, don't fill up on that junk.
Only a
This
12
lavender is going to be fantastic.
I would have cut the recipe in half. But now I'm going to see if I can juice up the last batch here.
In fact, that lavender is so good, I'm going to tell you all that it was a bomb and I'm throwing it out and I'm taking it all home. Wow.
It's good, right?
The lavender?
Yeah.
Oh, it's unbelievable.
Now we're cooking.
So where is the lavender bottle?
I threw it away.
Did you? Oh, you just used the whole thing?
Yeah.
Okay. Good.
How's it taste?
Oh, it's fabulous. It's unbelievable. Try it right there. Unbelievable.
great.
It is great. You think the Toroni would be just as good?
Do I think what?
The Toroni would be just as good?
I don't know. You got to try it, but this stuff's good. But
Yeah.
Torani, I haven't come across it.
Should I pull this out?
30 seconds. 30 seconds.
He might just shut a second.
I took the rest of it and I added the rest of the amaretto. Now I want you to try it. This is what it should taste like. Go ahead. Now we're talking, right? Yeah, yeah. Now we're talking.
I can see adult ice cream.
Oh, really? Okay.
So that's why I'm like, I can't really taste.
Well, that's the... See, I didn't know this was a half machine.
All right, folks, we're going to pull the lavender out.
What?
I own a bar as well. That'll work.
Hello, everybody. Hello. Don't forget. Hello in the back corner over there. Hello. We're going to pull the lavender out now. Don't forget to turn off the refrigeration. And let me get a spatula, which I forgot. This flavor is so good, I'm not sure I want to share it.
But you will.
I'm forced to. It's in my contract.
I don't know. Could have used a few more chips, I think.
Maybe.
Ah.
I would have liked a lavender color. I wonder if there's a natural lavender color.
No, it's good that it's this color. Go ahead, take it away. No, no, take it away. Take your thing away.
Oh. Can you serve it? I'm going to get the last bit out. And come on up and get the lavender.
Never had this before. Lavender chip ice cream.
Does anybody remember what a Yugo was? The Beagle Yugo?
That's not going to work.
They had 6 men building a Yugo in Czechoslovakia, and one day when they would get a door put onto it, they'd all be celebrating and drinking because they got the door on. That's the way I feel. I finally got an odd flavor that's great. People do not go out of business using our machines. It's almost unheard of because they're successful, and like all of you, they take the time to go learn what it is that they're doing. Any knowledge you can get is worth the money. Jeff's class is a great idea. Was there another question? Yes.
My wife's 52 years old and she's been using that machine since she's 18.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
That was the very first time I learned was make Italian ice back in Chicago.
For Tommy Farrell.
Well, that's
For Tommy Farrell?
It wasn't Tommy's at the time.
It was JJ's Italian beef.
Same neighborhood?
Same spot. Same exact spot.
Okay. Wow.
They've been there a long time.
Yeah, fantastic.
Yep.
That's great. But that's true. And the other thing is, as far as the ice cream business, overall, the economy is unbelievably good. And I'm not talking politics. I'm talking about that people have discretionary income for buying ices and ice cream and dairy free. Everybody is looking for a reward once in a while. You know, we all work hard and we'd like to get a reward, and ice cream and ices and dairy free are the #1 reward. Give someone a choice of a bag of Doritos or an ice cream and they'll take the ice cream every time. So your chances of success are phenomenally high. And if you have any questions, just going to make one more product, but if you have any questions, I actually work from 6 in the morning till 10 at night, 6.5 days a week. So if you have a question, email me. If you have some kind of burning question that needs to be answered right away, leave a message on the answering machine. We keep odd hours. We're open from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m., 3:30 p.m., 7 a.m. to 3:30 p.m., because it's Florida, and my employees said, you know what, the afternoons are beautiful. It doesn't get dark until 8 o'clock at night, 9 o'clock in the summer, and we'd like to go home and swim in our pools and enjoy our boats and stuff like that. So we said, let's move the hours forward and get you out of here sooner. And it works very well. So anytime you call here, you're not going to get an answering machine unless we're closed. You're going to get a live person on the phone. You're going to, there's Paula and me. Paula's my wife, and everyone else we call them family because we treat everyone like family, and they're all very well versed in the machines, and we can all help you. So any question.
I'm just putting the violin music behind you.
Thank you. I remember you sitting in the back not knowing
That's
anything. And plus, he was a liberal.
Was?
Well, now he pays his taxes 4 times a year, so that changes you real quick. I'm paying that to what? I said I wouldn't get involved in politics today.
Couldn't help yourself.
No, I don't care how you vote. Just vote for the Trump of your choice. And I'm kidding. No, but seriously, if you have any questions,
the ratings
where to buy
in the audience.
Where to buy anything you need, how to make a flavor. All right, I'll shut up and turn it back to Jeff.
All right, well, you want to eat any more, or should we just cut it now? Your call.
What do you do?
What's the difference what I do?
I'm hoping you make cream ice.
Okay, cream ice. Okay. So what's the formula for cream ice?
3, 2, 1.
3, 2, 1. That's it.
And it's
3, 2, 1. What?
And it's a 12-quart machine, Jeff.
So 3 quarts. 40 or 50 adult recipes, 50 or 60 regular recipes, plus the book, plus a workbook. My God, my head's going to explode. So.
Want me to rinse?
No, you don't have to rinse.
I got it here.
What?
I got it right here.
If you insist, rinse.
How much will that yield?
How much what?
Will that yield?
We'll see, won't we?
Yes, we will.
3 quarts of water.
It should yield 12 quarts of product.
Now I brought these here, brownies. These are brownies. I don't know. Oh, they smell good. And these are triple chocolate muffins. So we'll see, we'll taste as we go. We'll see what we got. But I know that if we're starting 3, 2, 1, can't miss. Right? Can't miss. Now, it helps to think what you want it to taste like before you make it. And this being brownies and chocolate and stuff like that, it seems we're looking for a pretty chocolatey mess here, right? We haven't had a chocolatey thing today, have we? We have?
Yeah.
What do we have? The Nutella, but that's Nutella vanilla.
Yeah, chocolate mousse.
Chocolate mousse.
Go ahead and make the chocolate.
I won't make them.
No, go ahead. They look beautiful. Use them.
Okay.
Try your butt. You best should.
Okay, you're good to go.
All right, we're good to go.
Oh, that's slippery.
We are good to go. So the first thing we'll pour in is. Now, should we put the sugar in here and
Yes, that kind of sugar you might want to break it down.
You're right. You're right. The Dominoes, no problem. Look at this. Look at this. Now watch this sugar. Look, clump, 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 bump, clump, 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 clump. Whoa, big, whoa.
It's still my fill down.
Yeah.
So that's the sugar deal. Now, proof is in the pudding. You didn't see the Dominoes do that. It poured like white snow. It's the journey. Okay, now this will go in. Look. No. Dissolvability? No. Look at all this sugar sitting there wasted.
I'm not sure there's such a word as dissolvability.
Dissolvability.
Never heard it.
And we'll add this.
Jeff
We'll turn it on first. We'll add this. Now we have our 3, 2, 1 in the machine. Sky's the limit.
You just add sugar right into the machine?
No, I didn't do that this time.
Okay.
I diluted it.
Okay. I didn't think so.
No, I would never do that.
No, I didn't think so.
So we got our 3, 2, 1 in there. The sky's the limit. I could walk blindfolded over to those shelves and make cream ice now because that's it. I mean, I would never go blindfolded over here and add this stuff. Oh, hey! His buddy. So, let's envision what we want. We have chocolate syrup. We have the rest of that. Not much in here, but it's the rest of what we used before, right? What happened?
It missed. Bounced out.
So we'll put this in.
Jeff, is there a shelf life on that?
On what?
Chocolate syrup.
Once it's open, no, actually there isn't. We keep it open. No.
Because I'm constantly 2 months later buying a new jar because it's been sitting on the shelf. That's okay?
Yeah, just put them on my shelf and mark it.
You still want to eat it after a couple months.
Now these are brownie. Yes.
Kind of winging it now, and you're going to add a little of this little.
How will I repeat it?
Yeah.
I knew that was coming. Well, you wing it again. Let me tell you something. My friend just estimated that I've made 63,000 gallons of ice cream since I started this, since I sat in her chair over there. 63,000 gallons. You'll know what you're doing. We did yesterday, I wanted to show them how to create a recipe without experimenting in the machine, how to do it on the counter. And we learned how to do that. And that's great. You're all going to have to do that because you don't want to screw it up in the machine and then and then dump it out. But after a while, you'll be able to do it in the machine. You'll feel the proportions. Duplicate this, I can duplicate it. And you'll be able to too. Remember, profit, art, and fun. So the fun part is coming now, along with the art part. Profit, you guys are eating it all.
The basic is just 3, 2, 1, and then it's whatever else you want to put in.
It's 3, 2, 1, and whatever else you want to make it. Yeah. This could have been strawberry, cherry, berry cream ice. If we put the 3, 2, 1 in, got a pack of frozen triple berry, we did that.
Yeah.
We did that. We did that in class Monday morning, first thing. We did 3, 2, 1. No, we made it Italian ices. We did 6 quarts of water, 4 pounds of sugar. Basic Italian ices. And then we had a bag of
frozen berries,
strawberries, blueberries, raspberries in the bag, and we dumped it in. And then that's it.
Yeah.
And that was Italian ices. That was his favorite thing that he had both days, right? Unbelievable. And so basic recipe and then anything else. Now, if you want to translate that to ice cream, same thing. Let's say you have a 24-quart machine, 10 quarts of mix, 10 things of vanilla, ounces of vanilla, and then whatever you want to add. It's crazy. It's crazy. I almost feel guilty charging for my class. No, I don't.
Yeah.
Hey, Jeff.
Now, we should add some vanilla also because I'm not paying for it. We'll add 5 ounces. Yes.
If you try your berry, what you just said with the berry, and you add eggnog to that.
Okay. Speaking of eggnog, this Christmas every year we make eggnog as a flavor. And I make a small batch because, it's only seasonal. So I made the eggnog, and the girl said, I said, is it selling? No, it isn't. Not selling. It had booze in it, regular eggnog. So then we changed the sign. And instead of happy eggnog, we called it high octane eggnog. Boom! boom, boom, they were buying it, boom, they're buying it. High octane eggnog. So if a flavor, if you believe in it and it's not selling, change the name. That's all, change the name. All right, let's add some brownies. Now we have brownies and muffins. And girls who bake, is there any difference between brownie and muffin? Apparently there is. What's the difference? More cakey. More cake-like. So,
More chewy and
Is there a difference in the ingredients?
well, let's start by adding some brownies anyway. And look at this, right in. Right in.
You can't do that with any other machine. You can't. The opening is that big. You wouldn't get them in there to save your life. And they'll void your warranty.
Is anybody counting?
Winging it.
There you go.
Jeff, can you believe this many people still stayed? Pretty good.
Yeah. Say when.
Well, he's
Coming through.
Scooch more. Just a smidgen.
I know where this is heading.
That worked. That's not.
This, folks, is my rainbow maker. Did you want to say something?
No, okay.
That's my rainbow maker. That's so you can take a tub, a 2.5 or 3 gallon tub, which this is not, and this is a small version. Just goes right in. It is full size. And now you can divide the tub up into 3s. So if you want to make Superman Italian ice, you make lemon in one side, put it in the freezer. Start out making cherry ice, unload it into the second compartment, put it in the freezer. Make blueberry ice, unload it, and then take this out and put it in the freezer. Now you've got 3 flavors, and you scoop around in a semicircular motion to get all 3 flavors. If you're using a...
That's enough, right?
If you're using a gelato pan, we divide that into 3 so that you can have 3 different flavors. You said you want one with 2? I got one with 2. Here we go, the Great Divide. I thought it was a great name. My vice president thought it up, then I found out that he stole it from a large manufacturer of ice cream. There's your Great Divide for 2 flavors. They used to make, you can make this out of cardboard, but it attracts roaches, and you can only use it once. But this and all of these, will last for years. That's the only optional thing we sell.
I wish we should. No, I'm saving those. I wish we should. I wish we still had some cherry something. Some cherries.
Paula's got some bourbon. Oh, you said cherries.
Cherries.
Oh, she won't share the bourbon.
Cherries. You got any cherry things here?
Only, no, I don't.
What do we have?
Nothing.
Kahlua? No. What do you got?
Passion fruit, vanilla, coconut, Flurry, Sambuco. Where? That's cranberries.
What is that, coconut?
That's Sambuca. That's a chocolate.
Oh, I thought you said coconut.
I thought I did.
Okay. What do we got over here?
Those are all
flip colors?
Extracts.
Okay. Here's coconut, natural coconut flavor.
I don't know the age of it.
What? Not bad. You don't know what?
The age of it. It's supposed to be refrigerated. It's been out
really?
there for 3 years.
It doesn't say that, does it?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, we'll let it go.
Okay.
Okay, we'll let it go. Why is this on?
I'm rinsing.
Done?
Yeah. Okay, we'll leave that.
All right, so this is the last flavor of the day. If you learned anything, I hope you learned the simplicity of all this. You know, when I say I never made it before, I never made it before. How many brownies to use? I don't know how many brownies to use. We'll taste it now. If it's not chocolatey enough, we got these to go.
Hey, Andy, I'll be through.
Oh boy, that's good. What? What? We could add a little more though.
Yeah.
Like one of these.
I think that would too.
Where were those chips he stole away from me? He took them back? Hey, remove that stuff.
More chips.
Let me know if he's coming. Destroy the evidence. Bury it deep. I don't know. Now taste it again.
Sorry, guys.
It's all right.
She's licking something.
Okay. Whoa.
Good thing it was the end of the day.
Whoa.
Whoa. Look at how that broke. That won't do it. I'll get a mop.
Better than a mop. Get somebody.
Yeah, I will.
Huh?
It's like a comedy show.
It's fun. And you're owning your own store is fun too.
If you can call Andy with a mop.
You're getting the machine today.
It's already loaded.
Okay. Okay. What are you going to make tonight? Oh, you don't have a 220. You need a 220. $75. Okay, let's see what we got. Now this is cream ice, not ice cream. Now the mix we put in was white. How about that? And we did add a little
And I was the one who moved the shelf.
I just put in a smidge of this Tyranny raspberry. Chocolate and raspberry go well together. What's that?
Don't even look.
Okay. So, any questions about anything? He cracks me up. Where'd you come from? Welcome. You can stay here till the next class. You're going to have some ices, right? Of course, why not? Why not? All right. All right, we're almost ready with cream ice. It's the cream ice show. We're getting there. The chips really make it. They do. Clean up aisle 2.
I've just heard that.
No cleanup on aisle 1.
No cleanup on aisle 1. Yeah, and guess who put the shelf on wrong? Me. Well, it's little. That is the CB-200. That's a 3-quart machine, and it produces 3 quarts of ice cream in 10 minutes, 3 quarts of Italian ice in 15 minutes. It's a 1-speed machine. It's set to do super premium ice cream and gelato, and dairy-free. And the only things it won't do that this one does is it won't do the low frozen custard, and it won't do 100% overrun. So if you're starting up an Italian ice business on a tight budget, that's a great machine for it. The resale on them is incredible. Like every machine we build, if a used one did hit eBay or somewhere like that, it doesn't last there more than an hour, but they'll leave it up. Everybody, this is Andy Shepard, United States Air Force, retired.
I told you I'd clean up a mess.
Andy is USAF retired and has worked a long time for us. Andy handles all the shipping. Andy's the one who crates up your machine and makes sure all the parts are in there. When you order a part order,
Didn't he
it goes
come and
in.
deliver my machine?
Yes.
Yeah.
And so anything to do with shipping, Andy knows it. And he's kind enough to step in here and help me out with this because I didn't wear the right clothes to do it.
Are we ready? Ready?
Yeah, ready.
I always wait for the compressor to shut before I take it out. There we go.
Stand so that the folks can see it. There we go. Oh, that looks nice. Very nice.
What are those dark things in there?
What'd you put in?
I don't know.
Well, you're the one who made it.
I don't know.
Oh, it's the brownies.
Oh, of course.
Yeah. Okay.
Silly
Aisle
me.
2.
Silly me. The brownies.
That didn't get the inside dirty.
No. It's easier to wash it.
What did you say that 350 does in quarts per hour?
9 gallons an hour.
9 gallons.
Yeah, on ice cream. On ices, because it's a higher sugar content, the freezing time's longer, so it might be closer to 6 gallons an hour.
Don't worry about the line.
Well, thank you very much. Appreciate everything.
Oh, thank you. We're going to give a tour of the building if anyone wants it.
You can try this. No alcohol in
Yeah, I
here.
will. I'm going to give one to Andy.
Thank you.
Thank you. Sorry, I stole it. Andy,
Yes, sir.
take a break. Cream ice.
Thank you.
Huh? Gift.
Okay.
Oh, you got to have
The
this.
difference between a
Okay.
gift and bribery is the amount.
That's true. Thank you.
If it was a bribe, it would be higher. It would be a quart. Yes. Oh, you'd have to ask Christy over there. Christy, you got a second?
Same guy. Amazon.
You want to know about the Rainbow Maker, the price?
How much are the price? Maybe the whole two-pack.
You can get 16 tubs in it. With the square containers, you can get 20. So,
I mean, obviously, if you're using it in a store, you don't want to, you want reusable.
I also like these.
What's that?
I also like these for wholesale They're inexpensive gelato supply.
Oh, okay.
It's 6 quarts, the capacity of this. And as you can see from a round tub, it's taking up a lot of space. In the space that tub takes up, I can stack 1, 2, 3, 4 of these fairly close.
What's the volume of the smaller box? A gallon or 2 gallons? The box, the wooden, the cardboard in the middle. Won't the lid on it?
I don't know. It looks like it's 2.5 gallon.
Okay.
It's deceptive.
Yeah, the other one's rectangular.
So they're good for wholesale because no chef is going to give you back your containers.
Of course, right. Okay.
People don't realize that. They think, oh no, they're going to wash them and give them out. And the idea that I have of putting it into the gelato pans is because rents are going up on everywhere. And so if you're a restaurateur and you're opening up a new restaurant and the rent's really high, the old expression, the money's made at the tables, not the kitchen. If you can have this many tables in your restaurant and a small kitchen, you're making a lot more money than if you eliminate this line of tables and give me a bigger kitchen. Right. The chef wants a bigger kitchen, but what he's really going to get is the smallest one humanly possible because that's where the money is. You're turning over the tables. Right. So in his freezer, now you've taken him down from a walk-in to a reach-in. If he can get 4 tubs in the space of 1 3-gallon container, he can carry more flavors in his store, and he's not locked into, I've got to get rid of 3 gallons of that guy's pickle ice cream. I can have 4 flavors instead of just 1.
Okay, and those would stack nicely.
Yeah, they do. And, the gelaterias use the stainless steel pans. I don't even bother with them. As I've worked today, I've just used these, and they have plastic lids for them, or you could just put saran wrap over it.
Okay.
And
pitch it when you're done? You just pitch it when you're done?
You should. I reuse them 3 or 4 times, at least. But for a restaurant, yeah, they're going to pitch it. But they're nice and they're not that expensive. The shipping.
Yeah. What do you want? A lid?
My best is raspberry mint.
The raspberry did it, right?
Yeah, mint. Yes. Sorry.
Chips. Yeah. That was good, wasn't it? Cream ice. I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you. Cream ice is the future.
No, I forgot that. 4 pieces maybe, probably nice.
Okay.
Jeff, thank you very much.
Steve, enjoy, man. Send me pictures of that stuff coming out. No plan B. No plan B. You don't need it.
Hell no.
Money. You're just going to make... But don't let money be the boss.
Huh?
Don't let money be the boss.
No. It's all about product, having a good time.
That's it. Having a good time.
Growing the business.
That's it. Forget the money. The money will come.
I'm a little slow, but I'm a really friendly
The
guy.
money will come. Take care.
Take care.